We came on a little bit late because I was watching the draft and I was looking for Shador Sanders to go round one, and now they're on round two, and they still haven't chosen him. So I'm very much into college football, and now I'm be following the guys into the NFL. So anyway, thanks
Travis
for
Hunter.
Travis Hunter. Yeah, two-way player. He got picked up by the Jaguars. The Browns, they really received a lot for Travis, but he's a generational talent, so they did not want him to get away, and I don't blame them at all. So anyway, we want to get into this because now we have the judges, Democratic judges are harboring illegal immigrants. It's like so unbelievable what's going on. It's like now it seems like a lot more is being exposed. Don't you think that it's kind of odd that judges that they would risk going to jail and serving time, that these people are coming into our country, that you would have judges harboring. It's like unbelievable. I mean, what is going on here? They're supposed to follow the law. They're the ones that sentence people for breaking the law. And they're going to have people in their houses living with them, and they're part of allegedly Tren Aragua. And then they're going to have this other judge from, I think, Milwaukee, and she's going to let one of them out the back door. I mean, are the votes worth all of this? So we're going to take a look at a rally that they had because they want to free this judge, and they were out here even a little earlier protesting. So we're going to hear what they have to say.
All of the many organizations that have turned out to protest and that will be marching and going on.
Yeah, May 1st, 5051 is going to be protesting. We're going to live stream that from Pennsylvania.
We do not go to work, and we take our kids and their students organized to come to this event. And we know that here in Wisconsin, we've had some of the largest Day Without Latinos and Immigrants in this nation's history. And we need that again. But what's unique this time is that in each of these critical moments where we've had
they are out of their minds.
Immigrants, and this year it is a day without immigrants and workers. It has not just been a powerful show of solidarity and economic power. It has also been a show of critical alliances, and we are building those alliances now, and especially on May 1st and after May 1st. So again, and then I'll just say that the Department of Justice, I just have to say this, also just announced that they are going to try to implement 12 hours for Venezuelans who they want to deport to get their due process.
Due process.
No one can get an attorney, raise the money, fight your case in 12 hours. So this is more of the same, and we are fighting back.
For whom?
So some upcoming events. So tomorrow from noon to 12:45, there is going to be an anti-Tesla protest on 120th and Silver Spring. It's been going on for 10 weeks strong. Because we know it's not just about xenophobia and white nationalism. It's also about the rich getting richer and causing a crisis and not giving a damn except to get richer.
Yeah, AOC and Bernie was flying on private jets.
The other protest is going to be tomorrow at 3 p.m. at the FBI building, precisely because of the misuse. FBI shouldn't be going after a judge.
Yes, right? They should. They're not above the law.
And May 1st. On May 1st, we are going to be assembling at 8th and Mitchell in front of the Bosich building. So we're asking everyone to be there at 9:30 a.m. We're going to have a brief program before we march at
It's amazing, like, how passionate she is about marching for judges that are breaking the law. No one is above the law. Now, we know that we have a crisis inside the United States of America. I don't understand why these people are out there fighting tooth and nail. But where were they for the last 4 years? All this stuff is going on, and they're fighting tooth and nails for people that have broken the law, that are supposed to keep the law. They're the ones that's supposed to make sure that people follow the law. And they're talking about, we're going to have this protest. We're going to have 50-51. They're doing another protest that's coming up.
Who is also
This is
believed
crazy.
to be a member of Venezuela's
This is another judge.
Tren Aragua gang.
He tried to
Secretary
resign.
Kristi Noem of Homeland Security
Look
saying,
at this
quote,
cameraman.
under President Trump, we have arrested over 150,000 aliens, including more than 600 members of the vicious Tren Aragua gang. If you are here illegally and break the law, we will hunt you down, arrest you, and lock you up. That is a promise, end quote. The arrest follows a February incident
that's his
where
wife.
Ortega Lopez was apprehended at the Cano residence. Court documents reveal that he was initially hired by Nancy Cano for home repairs and later offered accommodation in the couple's guest house. We do have a photo of that man right there. This is coming from the Doña Ana County Detention Center. Investigators uncovered evidence linking Ortega Lopez to the Tren Aragua gang, they say, including gang-related clothing, tattoos, voicemails, and text messages. According to court documents, he unlawfully entered the U.S. back on December 15th of 2023 by crossing the border near Eagle Pass, Texas, without inspection or any authorization. More pictures here provided by several different agencies. Now, he was released on December 18th, 2023, pending removal proceedings due to overcrowding at the Border Patrol facility. He was issued a notice to appear, initiating formal removal proceedings under the Immigration and Nationality Act. Further investigation led to the seizure of 4 firearms from the residence of April Cano, that is the couple's daughter. Again, this information all coming from those court documents here. It also appears that Ortega Lopez was found in social media posts posing with some weapons, some of which he claimed were owned by April. He is currently facing federal charges for being an illegal alien. This is the actual charge, in possession of a firearm. That is a violation of one of the statutes there. If convicted.
You know what? This doesn't make any sense. This is Judge Cano and his wife. There is no way that you are a judge that sits on a bench and you have no idea of who's in your house. There is no way that he didn't know that this person was in our country illegally. There is no way that he couldn't see that he had the tattoos, he has them around his children. I mean, there's no way that he can say he didn't know who this person was. He's even posing with them like it's cute. But sometimes people have these positions and they get careless. They get to believe that they are above the law. Just because you are a judge or a police officer or the FBI, CIA, whatever your title might be, you're not above the law. You are required to follow the same law as the rest of us. We're all citizens, well, most of us are, of the United States of America. And so for them to, like you have these Democratic judges that look at the behavior that people that we're supposed to trust to sit on a bench. I wouldn't trust them with anything at this point. We got to really look at the people that we're putting in these positions, because this is unbelievable that someone could be in a position like that. He knew. I don't care what they say. There is no way. You could look at that guy and he looked suspicious. At the very least, he looked suspicious. So it's like unbelievable that he would not even acknowledge this guy.
The Trump administration getting blocked over and over again by some of these rogue judges, but this one,
they're rogue judges.
This one ties in more to what's happening at the border and the border crisis and some of the deportations that are happening, and so on and so on. But of course, what we find out is it always gets a little hairier and always gets a little bit more disturbing of what's happening. We got a few different instances that have happened just in the last day that have some odd similarities involving these judges. So let's take our, as you say, take our talents to the great state of New Mexico.
A former state judge, county magistrate judge Jose Cano, and his wife Nancy Cano were arrested by federal authorities yesterday evening.
Yes, just the last few hours.
Right. Is that they were harboring an illegal immigrant that was a member of Tren de Aragua. That is the Venezuelan gang that has been listed as a foreign terrorist organization now, and many of these deportation flights that are happening under the Alien Enemies Act are related to those gang members. This was a judge in New Mexico that was having a member of Tren de Aragua living in his guest house for some time. This individual came to the United States illegally in 2023. They were detained at the border, but because of the housing issues under the Biden administration, was given a court date and released. The old catch and release, as they did during the Biden years. And of course, he made his way to become and worked as a handyman apparently for some time for this judge. Became good friends of the family.
Spending Christmases, holidays.
And there's photos of him with their family at Christmas. And when federal authorities were investigating to find this individual,
doing their search, they're hunting, they're obviously doing all of the spy work, if you will, to make sure they're tracking people, finding out where could they possibly be. We're looking for these crime bosses of Tren de la Agua. And where'd they find him?
They found him in the guest home of this judge. The judge then resigned from the bench just last week.
Hold on. I think you went over that a little too chill. They found him living in the home of the judge. We're going to go into another judge. Let's start with judge number one. Judge number one, who was essentially harboring illegal gang members in his home who had become family friends. And when they were investigating where to arrest this man, they located him inside this judge's house, which led to the judge resigning, ending his career effectively. And also, it could lead to even a further ban, is what they've presented, right?
That's right. So we have this individual who entered the U.S. unlawfully in 2023 on December 15th in Eagle Pass, Texas. That obviously was one of the biggest points for illegal immigration within the Biden administration. And then he was released into the country 3 days later, pending removal proceedings, but due to the overcrowding at the prison, he was let go. He made his way from Texas to New Mexico, where he met this judge. They said that he originally became a handyman, but they became friends with him. He was living in the guest house there, but was a gang member. And federal authorities tracking down these people that were caught and then released and never showed up for their deportation hearings, led them to New Mexico, where they found him when they went to arrest him at the home of this New Mexico judge, this state judge. Now, that judge resigned from the bench because of the scandal of having a Tren de Aragua illegal immigrant living in his home. But then he was banned for life from the New Mexico Supreme Court of serving as a judge ever again. But it didn't stop there. Now, federal authorities have arrested this judge that was harboring an illegal gang member in his home just last night. So he and his wife were arrested in New Mexico, and he will not be on the bench in New Mexico anymore, but may be facing very severe penalties in federal court coming up.
Let's move our attention to the state of Wisconsin, where
judge number two
judge involved in another situation similarly. Maybe not living with them,
but letting them out of prison.
So this happened in Milwaukee, and this was another state judge. So once again, these aren't federal judges where they get a lifetime appointment. Many of these have an election if you're a local judge, things of that nature. So these are in the state court systems. But this judge is now arrested for obstruction on obstruction of justice charges by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This happened this morning. And there was actually a tweet that went out about it from Kash Patel, but then it was removed. But now we've been following it. Many news outlets are getting confirmation from law enforcement sources that this is indeed the case. And this judge, allegedly, when the federal authorities showed up to arrest an illegal migrant that had a hearing at the courthouse she didn't let the federal authorities know where he was or even try to say, hey, let me do my proceedings. She hid him, allegedly. In the jury chamber.
HID.
Hid this illegal immigrant that was being sought by federal authorities in the jury chamber, according to the sources. And then told the federal authorities, go that way. Like old Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo. And then the feds then found him when he tried to escape the courthouse and chased him on foot and were able to arrest this person.
Unbelievable.
But that started an investigation by the FBI. And now it appears that this judge, Judge Dugan, was arrested Friday morning for obstruction of justice by hiding and concealing a migrant and telling the authorities, go that way. I saw him running over there. This is just absurd. And then
it doesn't even seem real. I mean, it seems like you said, like a comedy, like a Pink Panther.
Right.
There's a hacksaw Judge Dugan saying, "Go over there," and that's happening. When you hear these stories, though, it doesn't feel real. Feelings feel out of hand, and we were talking about this last night, Will and I privately. It just feels like the chaos that's happening right now can maybe start to be avoided. Maybe we could start toning this down and figuring it out. But the problem is
crazy.
You've activated a group of judges. You've activated a group of people on both sides who are taking normal civil discourse, throwing it out the window and saying, oh, we're going to hide people in our own homes. We're going to hide them in the chambers. Let them run out the door. In Milwaukee, again, in Wisconsin, this is happening.
There are potential constitutional crises, but it's when there are people that are state judges in this country that are not just having the normal lawfare, or having different legal philosophy and obstructing through the courts and being an activist judge. But in these cases, these two specific cases are actually conducting criminal illegal activity to stop the enforcement of our immigration laws. We talk about the activist judges on one side, where it is using these nationwide injunctions. And by the way, if you're fed up with that, the ACLJ is representing the state of West Virginia in a brief we're filing at the Supreme Court next Tuesday. So we'll talk more about that later, but we're going to fight it through the court system because we're not law enforcement. So our attorneys are right now working. That's another good reason to support the ACLJ, is that we are trying to push back. We are representing a state to try to put it into these nationwide injunctions by activist judges.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
they have 30 injunctions on Trump
doing crimes.
You know what? It's just ridiculous. These people are state judges. They're put into these positions. They're elected into these positions. And they're supposed to follow the law. You have one judge in Milwaukee. Here she is, Judge Dugan. She's hiding a legal immigrant. I mean, are votes worth the American citizens' safety and our welfare? When we could commit crimes, you're held accountable. Now, these judges, they are, every last one of them that are not following the law that they're supposed to uphold, they all need to go to jail.
Look at what Chris said.
Every last one of them. What did he say?
He said if they could take away a person's rights that don't think belongs here, they could take away yours.
That you don't think belong here. It's not that we don't think, Chris, that they don't belong here. They don't belong here. Are we going to follow the law or we're not? So let's pick and choose the laws that we're going to follow. You decide. So if you enter the country, you're breaking the law. Illegally, you're breaking the law. That's called a crime. That's called a crime. But they are not just harboring citizens of the United States of America. They're harboring, allegedly, Tren Aragua gang members. They're harboring gang members. Have you heard some of the stuff that's been going on? What's been happening? with the people that are in this country. Maybe if you just watch mainstream media, they're not reporting what's going on. Visit New York. It's like Gotham City without Batman. I mean, it's like people want to pick and choose what to follow, but it's okay. Look at one of my other videos I just did maybe 2 or 3 days ago with the presidents. You had Bill Clinton. He deported 12.3 million people. Bill Clinton, Democratic president, he deported 12.3 million people. He received 0 injunctions. Followed by him, you had President Bush, a Republican. He deported 10.3 million people with 0 injunctions. No protests, no due process, no what about their rights, no what about they deport them, they could deport you. None of the arguments, not one damn thing. And guess who opened up this can of worms? Joe Biden did. Then, followed by that, the next president is President Obama. He deported 5.3 million illegal immigrants, put children in cages. Where were the protests? Where were the outrage? Where was 50-51? Where was all these people talking about, oh, don't do that to them and all of this? Because they broke the law. But no injunctions. Trump deported. Now we got the open borders because of Biden. He created this mess. And all these problems that we have that's going on is thank Biden and his administration. 4 years of them have destroyed this country. And now Trump got to come in and he has to try to clean up the mess. We're $36 trillion in debt. We're broke. How are we going to take care of 14 million homeless people when it costs us $7 billion so far to take care of them? I mean, are you kidding me? We don't have money to take care of our vets, our American homeless people, but you got these crazy people talking about, what about them?
Oh, no.
They didn't, where was the due process for Clinton with 12.3 million and Trump 100,000, and they're only going after the criminals? And how many injunctions did Trump get? You have to come to me. How many injunctions did Trump get? 30.
Yeah, I'll just read it on here.
30 injunctions.
We gotta reply to this. Someone's now
Yeah, why
comparing
don't you
it.
keep telling me come over
Someone's comparing it to racism. Chris said, "I get it, but everybody's supposed to get due
Spitting
process.
facts.
Black people have the same complaints back during the civil rights movement, and they were
Oh,
correct."
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
that's why I said we have to reply
Look,
to that.
Look, one thing we're not going to do is keep going back to whenever you want to go back to. We're in 2025. We didn't have 2 wars going on. We didn't have open borders. Okay, we didn't have LGBTQ back then. We didn't have transgender. We didn't have all this wokeness.
Yeah, we weren't illegally here. We were
we
supposed to be here and allowed to be here.
Yeah, so that
It's
doesn't
apples and oranges comparing racism to illegal immigrants.
It's not racism when people entered the country and they broke the law. You didn't have a problem with 12.3 million people being deported. 12.3 million people being deported. 12.3 million. Democrat. Hello, Democrats. 12.3 million. No injunctions, no judges, nobody. See, the judges in the state level, they want them to vote in elections. This is all about votes. They are still on mission. The mission was to allow them to come in. You think they allowed them to come in because they love them, or is out of the goodness of their hearts? We got $36 trillion debt. We're going to take on $570 billion that we have paid for them. We're not making money, or they're not helping us in any way that's going to suffice the burden they're putting on this country. They're in our Medicare, our Social Security, our SNAP, our homes, our colleges, our schools, our luxury hotels. We got to feed them, clothe them, and we're not doing that for Americans. And that's why we need to have American First celebration. We need to have America, because 77 million of us say that we don't want this. And just because they out there jumping up and down, acting crazy, the rest of us, we're not going along with the nonsense. And we're not against migrants. Let's just be clear. We're saying that our country cannot handle it. We're saying come in legally like you have to with China, Russia, Canada, France, Switzerland, all the other places, Germany. You have to come in legally. I can't go to France and say, I want food over your citizens. I want shelter. I want you to give me a car. I want to go to your schools. And I'm making demand. None of us can.
Look,
and you can't hear.
And Desiree said, America first. I'm a Latino and I approve. Love you, America. Yeah.
Yeah, and like any country you're living in, you're going to put your country first. So either we're going to follow the laws or we're not.
Cody, you could just look it up for yourself. These illegal immigrants were treated lavishly. You can look it up yourself.
And even the ones that are committing crime are catch and release. Even the ones that are doing hideous stuff, they are letting them go free. They're letting them go. They're not following our laws. The guy that brutally had beaten Rachel Morin to death 25 times, he bashed her head in, raped her, threw her down, raped her again, and choked her to death. They said in court, he thought he was going to get off, that he would be able to leave court. Because that's what's going on. The ones that's raping kids, I think they raped 2 kids or raped boys or whatever, 2 boys too. It's a lot of stuff going on. And they letting them go. And they doing it again.
Do you see any?
They're doing it again. Because like Trump said, they did empty out their prisons in Venezuela. That's true. That's true. They know how many convicted rapists are here, convicted murderers are here, 15,000 rapists, 13,000 rapists, no, 13,000 murderers. They know the 600,000 convicted criminals. They know the numbers. And y'all running around like it's the same. This is not the same America. It has changed. This is not the same. And you got these people running around, these freaking liberals running around, and they can't tell you one thing or one policy that they're passing to benefit Americans. Because that's not the focus. The focus is to get us all riled up. Because I was on that roller coaster. Okay, they want to get us all riled up while they do nothing for Americans, and they deflect, and this is what they do. So we don't hold them accountable.
Cody is following CNN plot lines. He's saying Trump is helping rich Americans. He don't give a crap about us.
You know what they had? Oh, beautiful and wonderful Bernie Sanders and them. They always talking about the wealthy. These people are flying around on private jets. You know how much that costs? You know that they are multimillionaires. Do you know everyone that supported Kamala and all the, how can you raise $1.5 billion? $1.5 billion in 3 months unless you're dealing with the wealthy. Unless you're dealing with the wealthy. $1.5 billion in 3 months? That's because they are the wealthy. The Democrats are the ones that had all the billionaires supporting them. They have all Hollywood supporting them. They have all the athletes supporting them. They have everyone is supporting them. They're the rich. They're the rich. And we're so blindsided by their nonsense that they the wolves in sheep clothing.
Our country's America, Nick.
They're the wolves in sheep clothing. Who you think was supporting them? Bill Gates, Oprah, Beyonce, Mark Zuckerberg,
Usher,
all the stars from Gwen Stefani to Beyonce to
Trump's the best president we've ever had.
To Megan Thee Stallion, you name them, Jennifer Lopez, everybody, all your actors, George Clooney, all of them.
I prefer strawberry.
All of them. They are the billionaires and millionaires. Trump didn't have the billionaires and millionaires, but because he is a billionaire, then they hold that against him because guess what? You have a president that they couldn't buy. You know they buy the presidents. Who you think? You think Biden was the president? Let's see how smart everyone is. Do you really think that Biden, who's suffering from dementia, spent 40%, he cost us billions of dollars on vacation. Mind you, nobody said nothing about that. 40% of his presidency was on vacation. He didn't work for us. Who was running the country? Was it Jill? Who was running the country? Obama? He wasn't the president. See, they get a puppet, and you got other people running the country, but they didn't want Trump to run because he's digging out all the dirt. He's exposing it.
Someone said too, he doesn't take a salary.
Yeah, he doesn't take a salary. Trump doesn't get paid for all this. Neither did Doge. Neither did these people that he have working for him. They know that this country. Look, you guys,
Yeah,
and this is the truth.
this my mom.
This country will fall on its face if we don't handle this $36 trillion debt. And somebody has to do it. And all these presidents keep taking office, and nobody's handling the debt that we have. You have to take care of the debt. We don't have any money. The Bank of America is closed. We've been the ATM of the world. We can't afford to continue taking care of the world. We need help from them. Who's helping with the wildfires in California? Who's coming to United States Rescue when we had Hurricane Helene and Milton? Nobody came. We had our American citizens. Guess where they were? They sleeping in tents until Trump. Okay, y'all need to, this is called Speak the Truth 2.0, and I understand that the truth hurts. Nobody wants to, admit the truth. But this is someone that's speaking to you that I don't look for man. I look unto God. I never lack. We never lack any good thing. Our entire family is blessed. The extended family and all. But it's about what's right and what's wrong. And I see that's being flipped now, because now people saying what's wrong is right and what right is wrong. And we have to be honest. If I could stand up here who campaigned for Biden and Kamala the previous election, what?
That's like reading the chat. It's like I'm trying to see. It's like the Democrats are the more racist ones. They're the ones who say all the racist stuff.
Yeah, but it's true, because the truth hurts. Everybody's in Lululand while they don't do anything for us. If you're an American citizen, tell me what the Democrats have done for you. Now, I see them running around. I see them jumping up and down. I see them campaigning for nothing because Trump already won. But I don't hear them talking about they're going to lower the interest rate. I don't hear them talking about they're going to make it better for people who need to get houses, school loans. I don't hear them saying anything about lowering the price of groceries. I don't hear them saying what they're going to do for you. Only thing I hear them is with TDS. Donald Trump syndrome. That's all I hear.
Oh, I hate Essence.
But I don't hear anything that they're trying to do for the American people. And that should be a concern for you. Now we got these judges who are sitting on benches. And there's more. These are the ones that are being exposed. It's all about the votes. It's all about votes. That's what it's all about. They want to control these elections, and the goal is not about this country falling apart. It's not about us
Thank you, Essence.
that they care about people. The goal is voting. They already know that they cannot win because the majority of Americans have spoken. So if these people are able to vote this way, they can retain power. And it's always about money and power.
A black person said, y'all just
They said what?
They said y'all just contradicted yourself. You say you worship God, but it sounds like you're worshiping Trump.
You know what? You can try to spin it any kind of way you want to. And that's what people do. Like when you're saying something, then they try to, change the meaning of it. You know how you could read something and two people could read the same thing and they try to change the meaning? Nobody worships man, but we're here. And God wants us. He said when the righteous are in charge, the people rejoice. When you have a ruthless leader, then the people are going to mourn. Your silence can't be heard. That's why you got to speak the truth. Now, if you got everyone lying to you, then they have no truth in them, then you're believing whatever. I was believing everything I saw on MSNBC, CNN, ABC, all of the networks. I thought that was the gospel. When Trump would say fake news, I didn't believe that. I didn't believe it. I thought it was funny. I'm like, he's talking about fake news. I thought they were supposed to give us the truth, but they're biased. And they did a disservice to the American people not telling us the truth, but telling us what we want to hear. As long as you have a villain, everybody's good with that. While we're suffering, while people don't have enough to eat. Just because you're living in a house and just because your needs are being met, there are people out here that aren't as fortunate. But you're going to open up our borders and you're going to allow 14 million homeless people to pour in the span of 4 years? No country can survive that. Go to the Social Security office, go to a doctor office, healthcare. They're all in there, sucking up our resources. They're there. They said Social Security is going to run out in 10 years. Our healthcare is going broke. You know what happened in California with Gavin Newsom? He opened up and he said, I want all the illegal immigrants to have Medicaid or whatever. Guess what? They have no money now for even the United States citizens. Do you want that to happen in every state? You can't go to the doctor because they're going bankrupt? Google it. Look it up. Look at it. They're asking for more money from the government. Guess what? The government is broke. You put this burden on us. You know, you need people to come in like they're supposed to come in as we build the economy, as we can afford it. They're not adding anything to the economy. They put a burden on the economy. Everybody's talking about who's going to do this, who's going to pick their crowd, who's going to... No, we were doing it before them. But we can't have them all at once because it's costing us too much for them to be here. And that's a fact. Anybody know finance? Anybody have 20 people move into your house right now and see how your electric bill, your water bill, your gas bill, all your bills, your food bill, everything's going to go up in price. They moved in here. They moved into our house. They have moved into the United States. So there's a cost that, and we're not, our country is not the country of milk and honey right now. The country now needs to make money, and that's why Trump, the more money he try to bring in, the more money's going out the window. He's trying to bring resources here.
Someone said, that Dodge did all this mess. It's not the immigrants.
You got to elaborate on what did Doge do?
I meant Doge. Yeah.
What did Doge do? Doge did what? What did Doge do? They found that there were like 2 million of them that were getting Social Security. They had 3 years for you. They getting Social Security. Is that what Doge found out? Doge found out that these Democrats within 5 months sent them Social Security numbers. Is that what Doge found out? They sent them Social Security numbers. That's a problem for you. They sent them Social Security numbers. That's what they found out. Oh, Doge found out that they had people that weren't even born yet, and people were getting checks, Social Security checks, our money. Oh, they found out that people that shouldn't even be alive, what was it, 59,000 of them or whatever, getting Social Security? And they must be like over 100 years old. Is that what it is? That's a problem, right? That we sending $22 million for Sesame Street? I don't agree with everything they've done. I don't agree with a clean sweep of the people that had gotten laid off or lost their federal jobs. I'm not down with that. I believe that they should have went to the managers and the supervisors or the department heads and then saw where they could downsize. They should have just downsized each department. I feel like that would have been a better way to handle that while they're trying to get rid of waste. They're looking at that federal employees, these employees hadn't been coming into the office for 4 or 5 years. And if they're not coming into the office, they're paying for the office space, they're paying for the buildings, and people aren't there. And then the businesses are suffering because people are not there, getting their lunch and shopping and things like that to bring money into the community. So that's a trickle-down effect. So they said if they're not coming in the office, then how many of these people are actually needed? But, he did it the way he's done it. And some of the people, I guess, they will get their jobs back. Hopefully they will get it back. some of the people, and they found that they did have to bring people back because it's hard to just do a clean sweep. But he's not the only president that have downsized the federal government, and the ones that were let go were the ones that were recently hired. The ones that were on, say, 90-day probation. People that were recently hired were the ones let go, not the ones that have been working there for years. And Biden, I think he increased the workforce or whatever by 5%. So somehow it kind of balanced out. But he's not the first president that downsized. I forget the numbers. Other presidents have done the same thing. But everything he does is escalated. And what he's trying to do is bring jobs back into this country. He has businesses. Did Biden have Apple invest in the United States? 500, what was it? $500 billion? Apple into the United States? Then you won't be charged tariffs if you do business in the United States? What was it, Nvidia, or what's the company name? Nvidia or whatever. How many was that? 500 billion too? I know Hyundai was like 22 billion. So he's trying to bring money into the country. Shut down Mexico, the electric cars. China was doing business and wanted to sell it to Americans and charge us all this extra money. 170 countries charge us, overprice us with tariffs, but we're America. We don't have a problem with that. We're being charged outrageous prices. And Trump, he like, this isn't fair. So he playing hardball right now. We don't like it. But he like, look, we got to stop. People got to stop taking advantage of Americans. They got to stop taking advantage of us. And sometimes when you put your foot down, you got to take a stand and say, look, we're paying all this money. Y'all won't take our products. Y'all not supporting us. We're supporting you. And you're overcharging us. We're not doing that any longer. And that's what he said. And he's not. And I'm glad he's not. We got to pay high prices for stuff. Okay, get rid of stuff, cut stuff, whatever. But we need our president to stand up for us because we can't continue this way. And he's the only one that's going to take action. Because you think Kamala would have taken action? Tell me someone that would, Tampon Tim? Who's what? AOC now? They even think that she can run? Did y'all go look at her borough in the Bronx? It's crashing. She running around the country and it's crashing. They're not taking care of everything. Is about all this fake stuff. I'm about real. Go check out, fact check it. Look up AOC. Look at what's going on in the Bronx, her district. Look it up. Look it up. We got, look up Jasmine Crockett. Look these people up. Because I'm like this. I've always voted Democrat. So I'm like, if I can say this and be honest, I don't know what's wrong with everyone else. Because you got to understand, like, this stuff is crazy. And we're not going to hold their feet to the fire, but we're going to hold Trump to the fire when he's trying to get us on the right foot. And we have to do something. And nobody is saying that people that might have to leave this country temporarily, that they can't come back. They can come back and apply for their certificate of naturalization. They can come back, but come back the right way. Come back legally. And we can handle that, but we can't handle this. And the Democrats didn't give a darn. They just want votes. Those people is not about we need jobs. They got Americans that need jobs. They're taking American jobs. It's not about jobs. It's not that we're a caring nation. It's about votes. It's about votes, you people. It's all about votes. But only thing the Democrats have to do is keep you angry. I got videos with me with Biden. Look at 2 or 3 of my other videos back. You'll see me with Biden taking selfies. How can you take selfies with a president unless you're there? You're a part of it. I'm a legislative director. I'm in Washington giving big rallies. Those big rallies you see going on with Democrats, that was me. That's what I do. I'm not going out there for them. I might stream it though on Thursday. I might stream it next week. Might go out there. And they be like, oh, Cindy, oh, glad you're out here. You going to give a speech? No, I'm not. No. Because they go against everything I believe in, because the Democratic Party has changed.
Thanks.
It's
David.
not,
You want me to tell them where we found that sign from? Or
what
no?
sign?
The rally sign.
No.
Okay.
Well, it's at your college, but that's okay. Yeah. They're
That's
going to
the
all the
agenda they're
colleges
pushing.
and getting everybody you riled up about what? You're fighting your president on every issue, no matter what he does. But you have presidents that did the same darn thing. The same thing. And nobody is saying, and worse. And we can't even get people out that's a danger to this country. What's wrong with everyone? What's wrong with everyone? Guess what? Kilmar Garcia is home.
How could
He's home. He's El Salvadorian. He's home. He's not American. They don't raise like $250,000 for someone that's a wife beater that was sex trafficking people, that was ordered to leave this country in 2019. 2 judges declare that he was a part of NS-13. And he's been seen by 17 judges, some of them twice, and they still talking about due process. Cost us $5 million.
Delphine, I guess you like Bidenomics if you think that Trump's going to make the economy any worse than it already is.
They sheep.
Yeah.
They're sheep.
They say, see how you feel.
And they're sheep. What, I'm talking about how I've been feeling the last 4 years. I don't know where everybody been at. This did not just happen in the last 100 days. Okay? This didn't just happen. This Bidenomics is working, right? This is all Biden and Kamala and that Democrat administration, and they're still not doing anything for you. They're doing nothing for you. Only thing they do is get us riled up, angry, and promise you nothing. Trump he can't even get people out that have killed American citizens or raped them. They love raping children. What about the 350,000 missing children? What about the fentanyl coming in? I mean, what about the 2 wars that we're involved in because of Biden?
It's really sick.
All this happened with these people.
It's really sick because they did more for that Kilmar guy than they did for Laken
Bless
Riley.
your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laken Riley.
Tell them about, yeah.
And Jocelyn, the mother of 5.
Hey, here you got Van Hollen going over to El Salvador, Maryland senator. I'm going to get back because I want to show y'all something. Maryland senator, he's going to fly over on taxpayer dollars to El Salvador.
And 4 other Democrats.
Not for American citizen, for somebody that been sent back to their country that got his own president. And like he going to fight for this guy while Rachel Warren was brutally murdered in his state.
Crazy.
Her mother, Patricia, didn't get no condolences. He didn't try to find the person that brutally murdered her daughter. He did nothing for the family. They weren't at the funeral. He like all this he's doing for the illegal immigrant, but his constituent that voted for him got treated like they get treated better than Americans. That's a fact. That's a fact. And then another young lady that was killed in his state by El Salvadorian. Nothing for the American citizens. That's not balance. Nothing for the American people. We didn't ask for this. Did y'all ask for this? Did y'all ask for open borders? Did y'all ask for all this? Did y'all ask for this economy? Did y'all ask for high interest rates? Because, Bidenomics, they kept telling you it's working, right? Did y'all ask for those 2 wars? It's like y'all not holding the right people accountable. I am. And I've been with them in Washington doing canvassing. I'm a leader, having people call around the country, hold rallies. I'm an organizer. That's what I do. And I had to look at this. And then they don't represent God. I'm like, God is not in abortion. God is not in same-sex marriages. God is not in transgender. There's no such thing as transgender. Either you're male or female. Just because a gay guy wanted you to say that he a woman don't make him a woman. He's still a dude, and a woman is still a woman. It's two genders. That's it. You know, all this crazy
God
has
bless you too.
taken place in this country. And they were been winning because the rest of us supposed to go along with the delusion. Like if you say something, you're not against it. You got to love them with the love of Christ, but it's speaking the truth. And if you care about people, tell them the truth. Don't lie to them. You're not helping them. When somebody love you and care about you, they're supposed to tell you the truth and not lie to you. And I know it hurts. I know it's painful. But and we hold Trump accountable. Nobody likes, even in a relationship, nobody likes everything anybody does. But I only see one side being held accountable, and that's Trump. But I don't see ever anyone holding what they have done and what they continue to do to this country. How come you don't have the same standards for your elected officials when it comes to you?
What are we lying about?
Oh, okay.
I'll wait.
We hold Trump accountable for breathing.
Look at that brainwash.
Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. But you know what? You got to look at this. Hey, outlaw. You got to look at this. Some of the people that not everybody's from this country. Not everyone is American. Because if you are American, then it's no way that if something affects you that you would be hardened about, that you would be against. If someone's trying to help you, you know.
You're referring to because who pulled out of Afghanistan was Joe Biden.
Yeah, Joe Biden said he never lost anybody. And how many of those soldiers got killed for this guy? We supposed to have the strongest military in the world, and we hightailed it out of Afghanistan. All those soldiers lost their lives, and he wouldn't even acknowledge them. Wouldn't even acknowledge them. Trump went to Arlington Cemetery to acknowledge, and they were having a fit while Kamala was at her mansion and Joe Biden wherever he on vacation. You know, even the mainstream media made mockery of that, and they invited Trump to be there because he's the only one to show that he cared about what happened to their sons, daughters, and husbands and children. You know, it was Trump that did that. And all they did nothing. And guess what? We left hundreds and billions of dollars. We built up the Iran's military. And like Trump said, now we made them rich. They had no money. And now they're on the verge of getting a nuclear weapon.
I saw the Taliban flexing our
Taliban flexing like they said, we got a new day. Yeah, they do. And that's what that administration, they allow a balloon fly over our country. And I'm like, why are they not shooting a balloon down? I didn't realize that Joe Biden wasn't there for real.
See, I don't know how you claim to be a Christian and for the Democratic Party, Garden Girl 777, and that's.
You know what? I bind that up in the name of Jesus. Now, if you don't like the content and you can't handle the truth, you are welcome to go to another channel. But we're not going to get on here, and we're not trying to appease you. This is our opinion. The thing about being an American is freedom of speech. You can say what you want to say. There's something called a dictionary, and you can use it. You can get your point across. We welcome it, and we don't mind the pushback. We like the interaction. So we don't be trying to block you and all that. You have to be the total extreme because you make the show. If we blocked everybody, everything everybody say, it'd be no one on here. So that's not even our objective. But if you on here, it's because you want to hear what we have to say. And we can stand 10 toes down. You can't insult me or offend me enough that will bother me because I know who I am. I'm the righteousness of God in Christ. I know who I am. I'm confident in who I am.
Someone said you should call out the mainstream media as well.
Call out the mainstream media? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I think they do a disservice to Americans when they don't tell us the truth on both sides. Both sides. If you're a journalist, report it on both sides. Don't report it one-sided. I get tired is one-sided reporting. It's tiresome that nobody's reporting what they're not doing, what they have done to this country. As soon as Trump got in office, he's like, I've only been here 7 days. And they're holding him responsible. Are you kidding me? Where were all the protests about what's going on? Where were the protests when Biden was in office? Where was one sign? And that's why we need to have American First celebration. I might try to just organize that, because Republicans don't do rallies. They don't come together. They just vote. But right now we got people trying to steal our elections, and we got to be proactive.
The Republicans got together, had a rally against Joe Biden, because they never stopped with these rallies against Trump. I kind of wish there was a rally against Joe Biden and the disastrous presidency he had. But
the Democrats are in there. Look who's in there: Jasmine Crockett. They have no leader. Oh, who's the leader? Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Bernie Sanders. We have the Bernie Sanders. Like who's the leader? Hakeem Jeffries, Schumer. Who is it? Nancy Pelosi?
Van Hollen.
Who Van Hollen? Yeah, he throwing his hat in there. That's why he went into El Salvador. Who's the leader? Who are they? What are their policies? What are their policies? Are they have new policies for us? Do they have policies at all? What are they doing for the American people? Are they trying to lower interest rates? Are they trying to help get these people out of the country that shouldn't be here? They came here
Peter said
illegally?
Peter said you're beautiful and courageous inside and out.
Thank you so much. It's like we have to support, like you can vote every 4 years. If you don't like who the president is or the party that's in power, we have the privilege of voting, but we don't want the cheating. We don't want people voting in our elections, deciding who our president is going to be that's not a citizen. It's not their country to decide that. The American people are supposed to decide that. Like any country. I can't go over to Europe or go over to Germany and I can cast a vote for who I want to be president in their country. And they can't do that here. But we got judges, these same Democratic judges, that's blocking Trump for even requesting ID. Because they don't want the ID. They want them to vote. Want them to.
Sure, doctor, you can ask for her opinion on tariffs. She respectfully asked your opinion on tariffs.
Well, I look at it like this. Now, I'm not an expert on tariffs, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but it gives us leverage and it gives us negotiation advantages. I feel like if we can have over 170 countries putting tariffs on us, did y'all know that? Putting tariffs on us, then I believe that there's nothing wrong with us making it fair for the United States, because those countries are overcharging us. They're taking advantage of us. They're stealing from us, and we've been allowing it. They won't buy our products. They don't buy anything from America. Where you see like Made in America, they're not supporting us, and that's why we have probably this $36 trillion debt. But I believe that it's leverage that we need to use, because we need to make the playing field even. We need to even the playing field. And if that's going to produce jobs, bring money to the country, and these countries stop taking advantage of America, I'm all 1,000% for tariffs. And our farmers are being blessed by it. There's a lot of businesses, our people that make our automobiles, and they're prospering from the tariffs now because the money and stuff is coming back here. So I'm totally for it. If we can be charged tariffs, so can they. So I'm going to probably put this dude on. Woke Democrat judge arrested for harboring illegals.
Constitutional crisis. Also, AOC.
I want to put
was
him
arrested
on.
by the FBI
I like this.
for
Is
harboring an
Brandon.
illegal alien and also obstructing ICE, which is leading to a full-blown meltdown by the Democrats who claim that they're for the rule of law and nobody is above the law. Except
Nobody
for when it applies to them, then it's automatically some sort of constitutional crisis. Also, AOC and Bernie Sanders are exposed for renting private planes to fly across the country on their Fight the Oligarchy tour. And finally, failed CNN anchor Don Lemon says possibly the dumbest thing you've ever heard. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel. By the way, Mickey says
don't forget, like, share, and subscribe.
She's absolutely ecstatic. But let's listen to what happened with this Milwaukee judge today.
They detail this. We just got these court charges that were unsealed. Basically, on April 18th, they say that Judge Dugan had an undocumented immigrant set to appear before her in court, and they allege that she helped facilitate him evading ICE officers who were present and ready to arrest him at that court.
Isn't that crazy?
They say that they were actually able to later arrest him on the street, that he fled them. But now they are bringing those charges, saying that they're formally accusing this judge of trying to help this undocumented immigrant.
It's crazy.
Who was charged, facing state
This
charges
is a
of
judge.
assault and battery, and was appearing before her at that time on April 18th. So obviously, we're going to watch the developments. This is going to be a very contentious and closely watched case as we see this administration really take head on this idea that they say that state officials are seeking to obstruct their federal efforts to crack down on illegal immigration.
The Democrat urge to defend and protect these criminal aliens is just perplexing to me. So apparently this judge was frustrated that ICE was at the courthouse to arrest this guy, and she, in the middle of his hearing, brought him into the back, into her chambers. And helped him escape through the back door to avoid getting arrested. This is just another example of many.
How many criminals do the judges do that for?
If this judge had any consideration for the rule of law, as her job
They care about illegals more than they care
care
about you.
And make some sort of political stance by trying to let this criminal illegal alien get away. And this all comes after a New Mexico judge was caught harboring a Tren de Aragua Venezuelan gangbanger in his own home. The judiciary is completely compromised. I made a video on that judge the other day, but if you didn't see it here, we'll watch a quick clip about this particular judge. This is also insane.
So the former judge, Joel Cannell, and his wife Nancy each face charges of evidence tampering for allegedly harboring this man, Christian Ortega Lopez, an illegal immigrant and alleged Tren de Aragua gang member. Despite the couple's arrest this week, the controversy began in late February when Homeland Security investigations arrested 3 Venezuelan nationals, including Ortega Lopez, during a raid on the judge's property in New Mexico. Cano then resigned as a magistrate judge in March, and earlier this week, though, the Supreme Court of New Mexico permanently banned him from ever serving as a judge again.
So if these judges are blatantly defying federal law, taking it upon themselves to engage in self-righteous activism because they don't like Donald Trump, why shouldn't we believe these same federal judges that keep instituting bans on Trump's agenda are also engaging in biased activism?
Right.
If you let these federal judges tell it, I have no idea what the president really even does, because according to them, he's not allowed to carry out his duty in enforcing the laws of this country. So when the laws say no discrimination based on immutable characteristics, and Trump says, all right, we're going to end all of these radical woke DEI policies that are in clear violation of the Civil Rights Act. And then these judges block it and they say, no, you can't do that. And then when the law says public institutions such as Harvard can't receive federal funds if they're in violation of federal law, like the Civil Rights Act. And Trump says, okay, we're going to withhold federal funding because Harvard and other universities are engaging in allowing an environment of anti-Semitism and discrimination against Jewish students to exist. And the judges block that and they say, no. The president, who's also the commander-in-chief, says we're going to get the military back to being about high standards, lethality, and nothing else. So they remove service members who are transgender that require constant hormones and upkeep and medicine, all to maintain themselves because they've destroyed their body through monstrous surgeries. And the judge blocks that too, and they say, no, you can't do that. But here's Pam Bondi talking about this Milwaukee judge, again, just detailing how what she did
was a clear violation of the law.
And to set the stage for you and Sandra, this was truly horrific. This guy was in court being prosecuted by a state prosecutor for domestic violence battery. He had beat up two people, a guy and a girl, hit the guy 30 times, knocked him to the ground, choked him, beat up a woman so badly they both had to go to the hospital. And John, you know, it's so rare for victims to want to cooperate. They wanted to cooperate. They were sitting in the courtroom with the state prosecutor. The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013, came back in our country, commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes, victims in court. Judge finds out, she goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom, you're going to believe this, takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave. While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
Again, this is so hypocritical because Democrats want to claim that they're for deporting all of the violent, criminal illegal aliens, but this guy is literally a domestic violence abuser. Yet they're trying to help him avoid getting caught and deported. Now, Democrats on X have been losing their mind, and I'm going to show you a couple of these posts because they're absolutely mind-boggling. This one person says Hitler arrested a bunch of judges in his first year too, by the way. So they're reverting to their old tired trope of Donald Trump is Hitler, Donald Trump is a Nazi, equating deportations of illegals who broke into our country, many of who are just like this guy, have committed violent crimes while being here, to Hitler sending the Jews to concentration camps. And when judges openly and blatantly break the law, they think that the rule of law being applied to them is an act of fascism. They can't conceive for a second in their tiny Democrat brain that Democrats breaking the law is also a crime. That's why they're always in defense of people firebombing Tesla dealerships, because they're so self-obsessed and convinced that their worldview is the morally righteous one. So any kind of political violence, or in this case, obstructing law enforcement, is totally justified. Another post from the Lincoln Project says, this happens in North Korea, Russia, and now it's happening here. MAGA is not American. Again, these people will willingly obscure reality in order to justify their own worldview. They don't care about the details or the specifics. They just see judge arrested and assume that it's automatically bad in some sort of tyrannical overstep. Another post says, I mean, this is just textbook fascism. No, this is textbook following the law. Because they hate Donald Trump so much, and they see these rogue activist judges overstepping, issuing unconstitutional orders, they're just happy to see anything that slows down the orange man's agenda. They don't care if it's legal or not. They don't care if it's unconstitutional or not. Okay. Another post says, this is how the mafia operates. They are trying to intimidate judges and bully them into supporting their brazenly unconstitutional deportation regime by making an example out of her. So he's the mafia now. And second off, how is this some unconstitutional deportation regime? I mean, all they're doing is admitting the quiet part out loud. They don't want these illegals to be deported. And if you're so confused as to why, let me remind you, this post reads, the reason Democrat judges are fighting so hard to keep illegals, even the criminal aliens, is all about control of the House. If illegals were removed or not counted for the apportionment, Democrats would lose 10 seats in the House, giving the GOP a 27-seat advantage. It's what we've all known. Their ultimate goal is to make all of these illegals eligible to vote because it's obvious that they're going to vote for the Democrats who allowed them to flood into the United States and gave them free benefits, as opposed to the Republicans who want to deport them. But the worst case scenario of their plan is that these illegals massively boost Democrat presence in the census, leading to more seats in the House, leading to more votes in the Electoral College. The Democrats are risking American society all at the expense of a power grab. That's why it's inconceivable that a judge would block Donald Trump from trying to make sure that only citizens can vote in our national elections. But now on to some more funny news. Bernie and AOC have been going on their Fight the Oligarchy tour across America, traveling from state to state, telling people the dangers of these bad billionaires. Well, they've actually been exposed for renting private jets that cost between $15,000 and $30,000 per flight in order to travel for their tour. Here's a video of them getting off of their private plane.
I told you he wasn't going to be selected.
They're saving up for
It's
their
like,
wedding.
this is like ridiculous, like what's going on. And that's what I was saying. The ones that hollered the loudest are the ones doing most of the corruption. And that's Bernie and AOC. Look at them getting off the plane. That's AOC. They're flying private jets. Private jets. There go Bernie. There go Bernie Sanders. And those
It's
are
funny
candidates.
because many of you have pointed out in the comments that Bernie used to be against the millionaires and billionaires, but now that he's a multimillionaire with 3 or 4 lake house properties, he's now only against the bad billionaires. And while they're trying to make their pitch to the working class about why the wealthy are the true enemies, they're just jet setting around America in their private plane. How relatable is that to the American people? These people could have just got some first class tickets, but instead they chose to use the most exclusive and expensive form of travel that most Americans associate with only the super rich.
That's
while
right.
Going on their grand national tour about how rich people are bad and these people are fighting for you, the working class. It's the same communist grift over and over. They claim that they're for the working class, then they get into power, then they siphon all of the resources and the wealth from the country. Oh, and guess who's now in control of it and gets to use it at their will? Now, in another example of absolute Democrat stupidity, failed CNN hosts Don Lemon and Jim Acosta were on their embarrassing podcast together talking about how they're actually trustworthy now because they're reporting the news from a YouTube channel as opposed to the CNN news desk. Take a look.
But I think it's another nail, especially in the confidence that people have in corporate media, the trust that they have in corporate media. And I think that is why folks like you over here on Substack doing extremely well. I'm doing okay on Substack, also on YouTube doing well.
Don on Substack,
Yeah.
watch Don on YouTube.
Yeah. And so I think that's why we're having such success. And they don't care if you're on the North Lawn or the South Lawn of the White House with pancake makeup on and all the lights and the shiny desks. They want people they like, they trust, and they care about. And I think that's figures like us. People can trust that I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm also not going to bombard them with frivolous stuff. I'm not going to have false equivalency on my show. I'm just not going to do it. And I think people, people like that.
I mean, in what world do these people think that they're actually trustworthy? Do they think that just because they switch platforms to the internet, the American people have forgotten the lies that they've perpetuated over the years? People don't trust you because you're liars and you're propagandists. It doesn't matter whether you lie on national TV or you lie on your podcast. It just truly shows how out of touch these people are. We don't distrust the corporate media simply because it's corporate.
They don't have a
distrust
leader.
The corporate media because they have no interest in reporting the truth. They have a political narrative that they want to push. They'll manipulate, misconstrue, outright fabricate stories just to try to support a particular faction. It's always funny seeing irrelevant news hosts try to transition onto the internet platform and not be able to find any level
the media
of success
is why they hate
because
Trump.
all of the bad habits
They're very influential.
that they got from working for a propagandist news outlet, they can't shake or get rid of. But yet they think, oh, I'm on the internet now, so I'm trustworthy. Just an absolute clown show. But the last funny thing that I want to show you today, just an absolute epitome of Trump derangement syndrome, is a Democrat posted on X a video of her rejecting a NASA internship, specifically because Donald Trump is the president right now. Watch.
Good. Somebody else to get the job. Someone else to get the job.
I mean, that's an insane level of Trump derangement, where you're willing to stifle
People
and
at the
inhibit
office not
your
getting married.
own personal career growth simply because you're not a fan of whoever is president. You would think that anybody who has ambitions in working in government would inherently understand that there are going to be some times where the person who's in charge of the government you're not a huge fan of. But if you want to make a 20, 30-year career out of this, you're probably going to have to deal with
And she
half
put
the
it
time that you're
online,
working there,
so
you're
they're
working
going to
for
see it.
somebody
They
that
most
you don't
definitely
like.
going to
So
see
it's
that.
just another example of Democrat virtue signaling that any normal person would just find cringy and irrational. I don't care who the president is. I would never turn down opportunity because I disagree with the politics of the party
That he'll
that's
be
in
out of
charge.
office
But
in
yet
4
this will
years,
be the
but that's
kind
your
of person
life.
that demands that the American taxpayer pay for their student loan debts, even though they're the ones denying a great job and career opportunity. These are the people that would rather go broke in order to stand on their own moral pedestal and then demand that we foot the bill. That would be like if I had a business that sold things to the government and I decided that I wasn't going to sell to the government simply because Joe Biden was president. I mean, these people are panicked, they're skittish, they're deranged, and they're ruining their own lives as a result of it. But let me know what you guys think down in...
I tell you, like, he's amazing. We're on the same page, Brandon and I. Like, I just started listening. We're really on the same page that people have really, I don't know what's going on. Like, it's so many of people affected. You like May the 1st, you're going to see another big rally, huh?
Someone said Great Depression's almost here. Sorry to burst your bubble, MAGA.
Well, it was caused by Bidenomics. I'm sorry to bust your bubble. It's been here. I don't know, maybe you were on Mars, but we've been feeling the effects of it all this time. All this time. You know what was handed over to Trump. I know, like, if you're an adult, you know what's been going on. We didn't have 2 wars. Not until Biden got in office. We didn't have open borders allowing 14 million homeless people to come into this country until Biden got in office. We have all these problems that are going on. Just because a person left office, the problems are still here. And we're going to be going through this for years to come. This is not an overnight fix.
People, we literally have gangs in the country now because of Joe Biden.
Yeah, we didn't have Tren, Aragua, and MS-13, and what they said, 350 terrorists,
Yeah.
15,000 murderers, and 13,000 rapists, and we didn't have all this. We're like the rest of the world now. This was their problems. The third world country, right, problems. It's here. It's here. And you got people that is fighting to keep it here. They fighting. Like this
New York. This
recession or whatever you think is going to, it wasn't here until right now. The last 100 days, this happened. All this stuff. Millions of people coming in. I mean, they did a disservice. People won't even admit that they were the worst. That was the worst administration, I think, in the history of the United States of America.
Michael said depression. I was able to buy a house under the Biden administration with low interest rate.
Well, you must not be American, because there was no low interest rates. There were no low interest rates. Young people or people coming out of college, they can't buy houses because the interest rates are so high. Credit card interest rates are skyrocketing. So maybe you're from another country, or maybe you had your own special hookup, because it affected everyone that was trying to buy a house, except maybe people that came here illegally. They were given houses. They were giving everything. They were giving things that our military can't even get, and they fought for this country. And America should be ashamed of themselves. Should be ashamed of themselves. They fight hard for everyone else, but when you say fight for Americans, then it's like, oh, like you said a bad word. You said a bad word. We're supposed to be about, the Democrats are about illegal immigrants and about the LGBTQ. That's their entire agenda. That's it. They're not about the working class. They used to be, I guess, once upon a time, but it's changed. They're not about building this country up. They're not about creating jobs. They're not bringing money in. They're about spending money. They're not making money, and they are the wealthy.
Yeah, because you're black, we're supposed to be a Democrat. We're supposed to be for Joe Biden and Kamala. They said they don't know that they're black.
I'm American.
Yeah.
I'm American. I'm American.
No other country says, oh, Black American, Asian Americans, Latino American. They're just Jamaican, whatever.
I'm American. You don't identify me. I'm American.
Yeah.
That's what I am. I'm American. And what I respected about this election was that Americans came together. Blacks, whites, Asian, indigenous, Indians. Everybody came together and voted this president in. Did you see who voted him in? He got the black vote more than any other Republican had gotten. They said in like the last 27 years or whatever the case may have been.
Oh, I love you too.
He got the Hispanic vote. They voted like 57% or whatever the case. You know, everybody, all different nationalities in this country, ethnicities, voted Trump into office as Americans.
Derek said, I'm a person.
Yeah, I'm a person. We all, yeah. And the Amish, they usually don't show up. They showed up at the polls. The Amish did. We all voted to get this man into office as one nation under God. And I never felt like that before with any election.
So now Michael's saying, you said I was a foreigner. That's why I was able to get this house. That's why I said I'm black and from D.C.
You know what? This is not about you in particular, okay? Most people, they can't get a house. The interest rates are too high. They're not affordable. You know, banks aren't giving loans just out to everyone and anyone to get a house. You have more opportunity if you aren't American. That's what's been going on.
Look what Darla said. She said they received housing, dental, healthcare, food, housing, social security, and driver license. And
can't drive. You know how many people, like this one
English.
guy ran over 2 teenagers. He was supposed to have been, or he was ordered out of the country. He came back in, killed 2 teenagers. In California, it's always California. I believe it was California. And they want to release him after 3 years from prison. 3 years. He killed 2 teenagers. 3 years. That's all. And they want to release him back out onto the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Illegal immigrant.
And GP said billions spent on immigrants for hotels, phones, and food and whatever they need is ridiculous.
It is. We went to like, when was it? Like last year, whatever. I went to a hotel and I didn't know what was going on. They need your ID. I'm like, why are y'all taking a picture of my ID? What kind of hotel is this? I didn't know that they were using the hotels for the legal immigrants. I'm like, what the heck? I got out of there. I'm like, what? Because a lot of these hotels, no matter how luxurious they are, they're putting them in there in luxury hotels. And it's insanity. It's insanity. And these people, instead of telling these Democrats, what are you going to do for me?
God bless you too. That's funny.
What?
He said, anyways, God bless you all. It's bedtime here in Europe.
Oh, you're in Europe? Oh,
awesome.
God bless you. What is it, like a 6-hour difference too? Oh, God bless you. You know, and that's what we understand, that people that are listening and watching, like, where are you guys from? We have people in Europe. You know, get some sleep too, but come back to Speak the Truth 2.0. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified, because we just jump on. We don't have any special time. So that you know when we do come on, until we get some kind of schedule in order, but we're busy doing a lot of things, like, school work and stuff like that.
Someone said, he's from Ireland.
Ireland? Where else are you guys? God bless you too, Derek. Where are you guys from?
Pennsylvania, Blue State. They said they're in trouble. Oh God. So I'm saying NYC.
New York City.
Yeah, they're going
Georgia.
through a lot.
What are they going through? Michigan.
New York City.
Oh yeah.
PA.
South Carolina.
Hey, New York's beautiful though.
Well, I don't know what it look like now. You can't pay me to
Times
go to New
Square
York.
and-
I would never. Thank you for your excellent broadcast. God bless you. Thank you for the compliment. We love you back to North Carolina. Yeah, just want to know the truth. No, we don't make any money. New York City is like a garbage now. Yeah, it's like Gotham City without Batman. That's what it's like. You know, in California, it's the same way. It's destroying the country. Places that people, Sacramento, like people from New York could tell you, they're there. What it's like. Pennsylvania.
Oh, they said New York used to be beautiful. The lady you're standing beside is beautiful.
Thank you. Not in Tennessee. PA here. PA in the house. Okay. Black Lives Matter. Okay, God bless you. All right, New York. Yeah, if you're upstate New York, it's probably nice. But anyway, you know, it's so much that's going on. But I expect, and we all should expect, people in authority over us. These judges are in authority over us. So they need to uphold the law that they want us to follow. Do you guys believe that the judges should uphold the law?
District judge now responding to accusations that he
he's responding to it. The New Mexico judge Corey
has a letter where the former judge calls this sensationalism at the highest possible level.
Homeland Security investigators arrested this man, Christian Ortega Lopez, being in the United States illegally since December of 2023 and for possessing a firearm. Court documents say he and two other men were living in a casita on the property of now former magistrate judge Joel Cano. In those documents, Lopez told investigators he and the other two men did handyman jobs for Cano and his wife. The couple eventually let them live there after they were evicted from their apartment. The arrest of all three men happened in late February during a raid of Cano's property, with Homeland Security investigators claiming the men were, quote, well-known members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Social media posts from Lopez included in court documents showed Lopez holding guns with Cano present in some of the pictures. The Judicial Standards Commission launched an investigation into Cano shortly after the arrest, citing alleged willful misconduct. While not charged criminally, Cano resigned in March, which halted any disciplinary hearings. And now he can never serve as a judge in the state again. Cano sent this 23-page response letter to the New Mexico Supreme Court upon resignation, stating he was unaware of any criminal activity related to the three men, whom he refers to throughout the letter as the boys. Let me be as crystal clear as possible, said Cano in the letter. The very first time I ever heard that the boys could have possibly have any association with Tren de Aragua was when I was informed of that by the agents on the day of the raid.
Right.
He also questioned the validity of the investigation's claims, saying the three men had multiple interactions with the Border Patrol and HSI prior to the raid with no issues. I have three grandkids that I love dearly. Their ages are 15, 8, and 6. There is no way in the world that I would have allowed my grandkids to have any contact with the boys if I faced danger, he added. He was also under the impression that the men were not
look so
to removal,
upstanding.
citing their immigration paperwork.
He didn't find them just a little shaky.
In the upper right-hand corner, this person is not subject to removal. They each had a specific court date regarding their asylum hearings. Cano also addressed the claim from JSC that he provided the men with firearms, including social media posts showing the family with the men at a shooting range shortly after Christmas. He wrote, quote, I did not take a single firearm to the range. I took no ammunition to the range either. My wife and I went only as spectators. To say that I allowed them access is false.
Both of them.
Action 7 News found a cell phone number for the former judge in court documents. We wanted to see if he could tell us about the situation in his own words.
Yeah, they called him. Look at it.
Good afternoon, Joel. My name is Jason McNabb. I'm a reporter up here with KOAT Action 7 News in Albuquerque.
We had to leave a voicemail.
Give me a call back here as soon as you can. Thank you.
Text message attempts have also been unsuccessful. Once again, it's important to point out that Cano and his wife have not been charged with any crime.
It's coming. Pam Bondi and FBI, what's his name? Cadell Cash?
Yeah, Cash Patel.
Cash Patel? Yeah, he's on it. They coming for them. It's no way that they could be a judge and they're gonna act like they didn't know. Yeah.
Now Diego said, Trump derangement syndrome isn't a real thing, buddy. I wonder if you mean that, or is it just a trigger tactic for you guys? Looking at y'all, I will speculate you actually you believe that. Sad.
I believe it wholeheartedly. People are crazy. Look at what are they like? Okay, you have like when I would do a rally, it was because of a cause. It was like we knew what we were gonna, the reason behind it, and we had the support. When they do the rallies now, what are the rallies about? What are the rallies about other than Donald Trump syndrome? What are the rallies about? Like they want everybody. We already had elections. We already voted a president in. We already have the administration in the office. But where was the outrage when the former president was destroying this country? And now we're reaping the benefits of Bidenomics. We're reaping the benefits of Bidenomics. That's what's going on. Just because you change administration a couple months ago doesn't change the problems that they created. They created. When are they going to talk about what they're going to do for you? Ask them this for me. Why did they open up the borders? Ask them ask Bernie Sanders, ask AOC, ask Jasmine Crockett, ask Majority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, ask them. Ask them why did they open, ask Biden.
The ace said, Trump said he's fixed it by now. Wake up.
Why? Why did they do it? Why did they do it? He got so much on his plate, but you're not talking about the things he have done. You're not talking about the things that he has done in the short. What about, he does just about a news conference almost every day. Have you had a president that transparent before?
Katniss, I was the Republican first. I was the Trump.
Have you been to an executive board meeting before? Especially with the president that he's inviting everybody to the executive board meetings? The media is so thirsty to ask him questions, but they weren't even allowed to ask Biden or Kamala anything. And if they did allow any questions, they were already pre-selected. And he talked from a teleprompter and a script, which this administration doesn't do. They talk to you, and they tell you everything that's going on. You should appreciate that. And I bet if a Democrat get in office, you're not going to hold them responsible to give you the same type of transparency.
Great point.
You will not hold them. Whatever they do, you will not, because they already done all this, and you're not holding responsible for this. You're not going to hold them. They could go back not saying nothing to you, using teleprompters, using scripts, not letting American people know what's going on. That's fine with you. They can start 2 more wars. They can open back up the borders. They can go back to their men or women and put God out of the country. They can do all of these things because they have already done it. Biden last year, during this time when we had Easter, declared it Day of Visibility on Easter. Now Trump on Easter, and he passed executive order for anti-bias Christian bill, so people won't be biased against Christians. Hate bill against Christians. But nobody's saying nothing about that. He wants America to be more biblically founded and grounded and putting God first. And he talks about Jesus. How many times have you heard Biden talking about Jesus? Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. There's nothing like his name. There's nothing more powerful than the name of Jesus. Even the demons tremble just by saying the name of Jesus.
Jolene said there's supposed to be a separation of church and state.
Yeah, well, where's that written in the Constitution? Because last time I checked, it's not in the Constitution. And separation of state comes from a letter. I always got to get this history lesson. It comes from a letter from Thomas Jefferson that he had written in 1802 to the Dansbury Baptist Church to assure them that there would be no interference from the government when them practicing their religious beliefs. That's what that was. It's not in your Declaration of Independence. That was just to give you freedom, that there would be no interference, because you know some countries you can't practice your religious beliefs. So that was to ensure the people, but that was a letter that he had written to them because they were concerned about that. The only time the government will get involved is if somebody's trying to probably, do something to their child or some kind of sacrifice. So, it has to be extreme. But you're able to, practice your religion how you want to. And that's just not Christianity, whatever religion that you believe in. So that's where that comes from. So it's not constitutional. So religion, one of the 1,000, should be special treatment over the others. Why is your daddy different? Yeah, everyone's able to practice their religion how they see fit. But I serve the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. Christ is King and Jesus is Lord. So we stand 10 toes down for the word of God. God said, you deny me before men, I deny you before my Father. So, we uplift Jesus, and our help don't come from men. It coming from God. God is first in our life. And if you serve God, everything you do, whatever you're doing, whether you're getting dressed, you thank God. When you wake up, you thank God. You thank God for everything. Because we know who our provider is. It's not the government. It's not the jobs. God, if you go to work, God gives you the ability to go to work. God gives you the strength to, to accomplish the things, because he had to wake you up. Just start with that. And if you have a job, if you have a home, that's enough to be thankful for. Huh?
Look at that judge.
Yeah, that judge. I mean, these, anytime you have judges like this, it is bad that they're not following the law that we are expected to follow. They're not above the law. So this is corruption. So when you see stuff going on like this, is not their position. How can you trust the bench? They're not the only ones. They're just in the news. You got judges hiding illegal immigrants that they know are gang members. And you got these people, Americans supposed to be outraged, but they're not fighting for you.
Isn't that something?
They're not fighting for you.
Isn't that something crazy? You got judges committing crimes.
You got judges committing crimes, and they're supposed to uphold the law. They're supposed to be an example. Oh, thank you, Alo. God bless you too.
God bless you.
It's insanity.
And obstructing an official proceeding.
No justice, no peace.
Here they go. Let the judge be released. No justice, no peace. Let the judge be released. Yeah, right.
Dugan, who is accused of helping an illegal immigrant, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, avoid arrest by ICE officers at that courthouse. The criminal complaint against Dugan says, quote, despite having been advised of the administrative warrant for the arrest of Flores Ruiz, Judge Dugan then escorted Flores Ruiz and
that
his
guy.
counsel
She escorted
out of the courtroom through the jury door, which leads to a non-public area of the courthouse.
We could not believe, actually, that a judge really did that. You cannot obstruct a criminal case and really shame on her. It was a domestic violence case.
Milwaukee's Democrat mayor is furious at the Trump administration's action in arresting a judge at the courthouse.
These actions right now run completely counterclockwise to what he's trying to do, what he thinks he's trying to do.
Look at this. Look how they spin it.
In New Mexico, another judge appeared in federal court today after being arrested Thursday and charged with tampering with evidence in the investigation of his alleged harboring of an illegal immigrant. Joel Cano resigned in March from his position as a county magistrate judge based in Las Cruces, New Mexico, after federal agents raided his home and took into custody Christian Ortega Lopez, allegedly a member of Tren de Aragua, as well as 2 Venezuelan men, all of whom had been staying in a guest house on
his house,
property.
the judge,
Cano claims he
but
saw
he didn't
no
know
signs
nothing.
of gang membership
Sure.
and wrote in a letter to the New
I bet they
Mexico
were in your
Judicial
house, you would know the
Standards Commission,
difference.
quote, I cannot help but feel that the capture of these boys is just another unfortunate addition to the current nationwide effort to apprehend, detain, and deport anyone not born in the U.S.
Yes, that's right.
Attorney General Pam Bondi also said today she believes that the judges in these cases are
unbelievable,
deranged, and consider themselves above the law. And the AG said the arrests should send a message that the Trump administration will to act not just against illegal immigrants, but also against the judges the White House and DOJ feel are protecting those illegal immigrants. Brett?
Jonathan, thank you. But first, a Wisconsin judge under arrest and facing charges accused of flouting federal law to help an illegal immigrant. Federal prosecutors say Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan allegedly helped that migrant avoid arrest by ICE officers
Let him out the
at
back door.
the courthouse. It's a bizarre case and it's still unfolding. Hello, I'm John Roberts in Washington.
And they're fighting for him.
All right, and good to be back with you as well, John. I'm Sandra Smith in New York, and This is America Reports that today's arrest of a judge marks the second such case in the last 24 hours. A former New Mexico judge and his
No, the
wife
Democrats
were taken into
didn't mind it
custody yesterday.
neither.
Federal agents arrested
12.3 million
a suspected Tren de
deported.
Aragua gang member
Sent them out.
in their guest house.
For more on all of this, we are honored to have in the new U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. It's good to talk to you.
process in their country.
So let me read
Let them have
from the
due
criminal
process in
complaint
their
here.
country.
Judge Dugan
In
says,
their
despite having
country.
been advised of the administrative warrant for the arrest of Flores Ruiz, Judge Dugan then escorted Flores Ruiz and his counsel out of the courtroom through the jury door, which leads to a non-public area of the courthouse. A foot chase ensued. The agents pursued Flores Ruiz for the entire length of the courthouse and ultimately apprehended him. According to this complaint, Judge Dugan was visibly angry
That's
that
right.
ICE was there
Tell
to
him.
arrest Flores
Tell him.
Ruiz, even trying
Wouldn't be
to
a
kick
problem
the
if he was
deportation agents
left
out
when
the
he's supposed to.
Yeah, and to set the stage for you and Sandra, this was truly horrific. This guy was in court being prosecuted by a state prosecutor for domestic violence battery. He had beat up 2 people, a guy and a girl, beat the guy, hit the guy 30 times, knocked him to the ground, choked him, beat up a woman so badly they both had to go to the hospital. And John, you know, it's so
And
rare
she let
for
him out the
victims to
back
want to
door.
cooperate.
I
They
think
wanted to
America's so
cooperate.
crazy.
They were sitting in the courtroom
Look at this
with
crap.
the state prosecutor. The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013.
The victim's in the
came
courtroom
back in
and
our
she
country,
lets him out
commits
free.
these crimes, charged with committing
What
these
if he
crimes.
circled back
Victims
to
in
her
court.
house?
Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom, you're going to believe this, takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave. While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
Unbelievable.
You know, Madam Attorney General, great to have you here, and thanks for
I don't know how
coming back
people
on America
justify
Reports.
it,
We remember
but they
these words
will.
of Tom Homan, the border czar. This was March 17th, and his message on these judges who apparently are trying to get in the way of this administration's efforts. Listen.
I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
So when you see these judges trying to obstruct your efforts to make this country safer, what is your message to them?
We are going to prosecute you, and we are prosecuting you. I found out about this the day it happened. We could not believe, actually, that a judge really did that. We looked into the facts in great depth. That's her picture up on the screen, Hannah Dugan, who is now in custody. You cannot obstruct a criminal case, and really, shame on her. It was a domestic violence case of all cases, and she's protecting a criminal defendant over victims of crime.
We've actually just had an initial appearance in court. There's also this other case coming out of New Mexico. Judge Joel Cano and his wife were arrested for harboring a TDA member at their home.
And they neither one of them knew, right?
The alleged TDA member had been picked up by law enforcement, and now he and his wife were picked up and arrested. And you say that you believe, as the Attorney General, that the person that they were having living at their home was a truly, potentially bad individual.
Yeah, that's the judge up on the screen now who got arrested. Yeah, his
Praise
name
God.
is Ortega. He was a known TDA member. So he comes through Eagle Pass December 2023. He's living in our country. January 2025, ICE, they get a tip. Tom Homan's done a great job. Our FBI did a great job on this case too. They get a tip that he is living with a judge and the judge's wife. So they have him arrested first on immigration charges. A Judge Damian Martinez releases him saying that Judge Cano has a good BS meter and wouldn't let just anyone live on his property.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at
not that dude.
associations with this violent Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, and this person that they harbored in their home, he was showing signs through clothing, we were told, tattoos. There was evidence through voice messages and text messages of his association to TDA. So what charges will Cano and his wife face, if any?
So Judge Cano, soon to be former Judge Cano, got his charges were just unsealed. He's charged with obstruction. He admitted post Miranda. He took one of the TDA members' cell phones himself, took it, beat it with a hammer, destroyed it, and then walked the pieces to a city dumpster to dispose of it to protect him. The wife also is charged with destroying evidence. Sandra, not only that, this TDA member, and he had on a necklace that said kill, something about death. He had tattoos all over him. He also had on his cell phone pictures of 2 decapitated victims.
Jesus!
Decapitated, gruesome photos. And he was sending them out, and whoever he was sending them to was sending back saying, hey, you need to be careful. You shouldn't be sending these. You shouldn't be texting these photos out. Not only that, these two, the judge and his wife, gave him assault rifles that belonged to their daughter. That's what they're charged with.
Their daughter?
In the criminal report affidavit, he goes.
Why would they
to
give
a
them
shooting
assault
range
weapons?
with these assault rifles, with a suppressor, with other known TDA
With all
members
this,
in
they're
their
still
shooting.
going to fight
This is
Donald
the
Trump.
last person that
They're
we
still
want
going to
in our
fight
country.
them.
No
They
one
having
will
a
ever
protest
tolerate
and
a judge or
about the
anyone else
judges.
harboring them.
Let me, if I could, Madam Attorney General, come back to the Wisconsin case and Judge Hannah
Thanks,
Dugan.
Democrats.
Because in allegedly letting the perpetrator and the attorney out through a non-public exit and allowed them to get out in front of the building, we had a situation where we've seen that I know Tom Homan was complaining about in Colorado, where there would be no transfer of a defendant from a jail to ICE custody on a detainer request in a way that was orderly and protected public safety. They would dump them off in a parking lot, and then ICE would have to chase them around with the DEA or whatever, or FBI, and pick them up. This ended up in a foot chase in public sight. It says here, a foot chase ensued. The agents, and this was a DEA agent and FBI agent, pursued Flores Ruiz for the entire length of the courthouse, ultimately apprehended him near the intersection of West State Street and 10th Street. So the judge apparently has created a situation here where you have a public foot chase, and we all know that while sometimes they can come off without incident, they can also turn into very dangerous situations.
John, that's exactly right. She put the lives of our law enforcement officers at risk. She put the lives of citizens at risk. A street chase, which is absurd that had to happen. But yes, she put a lot of people in danger. That judge did it, so did the other judge. Judge Cano is charged with, they were allegedly giving him assault rifles, AK-47s, AR-15s, with a suppressor, a known TDA member, letting him go to a shooting range to refine and perfect his shooting skills. What's happened to our judiciary is beyond me.
Yeah, so when the American public hears this and they think these were once upstanding people in their communities and their professions, and they put it all on the line for this, have you dug into their motive? Like, what inspired them to carry out these acts and harbor criminals?
They're deranged is all I can think of. I cannot believe. I think some of these judges think they are beyond and above the law.
They think
and
they
are
are above
not.
the
And
law.
we're sending a very strong message today. If you are harboring a fugitive, we don't care who you are. If you are helping hide one, if you are giving a TDA member guns, anyone who is illegally in this country, we will come after you and we will prosecute you. We will find you.
If I can just finish off with this idea, very significant development that you're arresting judges now. Now, it could be that the judges have engaged in terribly bad behavior and deserve to be arrested. But you know what critics will say? They'll say, "Oh, this is a government that is expanding the powers of the Article 1 of the Constitution. Now they're arresting judges." How do you respond?
They need to be arrested. They're not above the law.
No one is above the law in this country. And if you are destroying evidence, if you are obstructing justice, when you have victims sitting in a courtroom of domestic violence,
how are you going to
and
let
you're
them
escorting
out?
a criminal defendant out of
That's
that
horrible.
door, it will not be
What Tom
tolerated,
said,
and
these
it is a
judges are
crime in the United States of America.
Oh, they're
Doesn't matter who
accomplices.
you are,
Yeah.
you're gonna be prosecuted.
That's a
Madam
crime.
Attorney General, great to see you in the studio.
Great to see you.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
your
you
time.
very much. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
those
But
judges
tonight,
are accomplices.
Like Janice said,
Yeah. They need to be they're not above the law. They're supposed to uphold the law. They should be example as model citizens what you should not do. This is what you shouldn't do. So this is insanity on another level, what they are doing. It doesn't make any sense. And they're protesting to protect these people. There are rallies that they're going to have, I think, they're already having, they're going to have May the 1st, a 50-51 rally. That's supposed to be 50 states, 50 protesters in one day. So they're passing information around. I was at my son's college, I saw the flyer, and they are, this is what they're protesting. But they're not giving answers. I'm the type of person, I want you to solve problems. I want you to, what's the solutions? Do something to make a difference, a positive difference, and it's not the immigrants' fault that this deranged government that we had in office, that they opened up the borders. I mean, they could come in, you're getting luxury apartments, you're getting cars, you're getting food, you're getting shelter, you're getting education, you're getting free education, you're getting free health care, you're getting everything. Everything. Because they want your vote. Not because they care about you, not because they care about this country. And you know what they told American people? Forget you. We don't care about you. Just focus on Trump. As long as we have you focus on Trump, we don't have to do anything for Americans. And that's what's going on. They don't have to do anything for us because they want you to focus on Trump.
Okay, Sunflower said, I think people are protesting to protect due process, not criminals.
Well, where were they protesting due process at when 12.3 million were deported? They can have due process in their country. We can't afford to do, it would take 200 years to get them out of here.
Dang.
200 years. They're not Americans. They can have due process in their said country. That's for Americans. Who's going to pay for it? You have the money to pay for it? Because Kilmar, it cost us $5 million. And they still trying to fly him back, due process, to fly his behind back out. Because if you enter here illegally, you broke the law. So we can get you out of here, no matter what.
George said, how do you know who is a criminal and who isn't?
Anyone that came in the country illegally is a criminal.
Yeah.
That's a criminal. It's not like you're a criminal, you're not. No, you're a criminal because you entered the country illegally. That's the law. That's our law. That's our law. We're not going to take citizens from other countries to due process to send them out when they broke the law and they're going to be sent out anyway. So if it costs us $5 million, money we don't have, that they didn't pay 1 cent for their due process, then what you think is going to cost for 14 million people?
Someone said, if he's here illegally, how did he have a union job?
Because the union messed that up. That was a job that should have went to American. That was a job for American that didn't get.
Okay, guys, I wish, but we're not being paid by...
I wish we were.
Yeah,
no, we get
We're
nothing.
not being paid for this.
This is our time and effort, and maybe one day God see fit or whatever. But we do this because we want to. Because you need people out here speaking the truth. And don't sugarcoat. Just, it's just an opinion. And just like you have a right to your opinion, people don't have to agree with us. And we don't have to agree with you. This is called communicating.
Some of the things we do say are facts, though.
Yeah, but people need to hear it, is what I'm saying. Some people are not going to hear this, and then it'll get them to start thinking, like, okay, what about what she said? What about what he said?
God bless you too.
Why aren't we holding the left accountable? Why not?
George, I don't get what point you're trying to make, bro. He said, prove that you're both sentences. What if the police don't care you have proof? Who would stop the police?
We're not doing this, whatever, and what this...
This hypothetical
This
situation.
hypothetical. Okay, we have what's called birth certificates. Yeah. We have birth certificates. That's what we have. That's all you need. We have birth certificates.
Yeah, social security numbers.
And social security numbers. So that's proof of citizenship. And that's what you need. So if you have a birth certificate, that proves it, okay? It proves where you're from. Yeah, it does. And you got people out here, the judge is arrested for breaking the law. Victims are sitting in her courtroom. This is how deranged. Y'all should have a problem with that. You should want justice. If someone did that to you, would you want the judge letting them out the back door? You're sitting in court, the person beat you to a pulp, to the point that you and your wife had to go to the hospital. That's how badly they were beaten. And then you're in court trying to get justice, but you got this Democratic judge that decides she's mad at ICE that want to get them out of the freaking courtroom, and she's going to take them and tell them to leave out the back door while the victims are sitting in there waiting to be heard. Looking for justice. So it's all right for them not to get justice? It's all right for someone to do that to them and not be held accountable?
My black guy said, I see why you guys are a part of a cult and you're black. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
And you still living on that plantation. And I pray in the name of Jesus that he open up your mind and take your blinders off. Because the black people have been voting for the same darn way. They said for 60 years, whatever length of time, and nothing is being done for you. They don't even make promises any longer every 4 years. The last election in 2020 that I went out, canvassed, helped get Biden elected, did all I can, rally speeches, the whole 9 yards. I'm not just a voter. I actually am an organizer and an activist. I did the whole 9 yards. I met all these candidates and people that were running for office. And the thing about it, you got to get to the point that they're not doing anything for us. And then I had to look at who I serve. Is God in abortion? Is God, because I don't serve man, I serve God. Is God in abortion? Because the party changed. Is God in same-sex marriages? Is God in LGBTQ? Is God in men and women's sports?
I just got rid of one person.
Now, they can't even tell you what a woman is. But that was declared the beginning of time when God created the heavens and the earth. But all of a sudden, the last 5 years? How long transgender's been around? 10 years? This is a new thing. They went from gay to no, I want you to call me a woman. I'm 6'5", but call me a woman. I want to play women's sports because I can beat all them. I can't compete against other men, but I can beat these women because I'm going to tell y'all, call me a woman. See, I realize God is not in that. The Democratic Party changed in the last 10 years for what it was. There was no LGBTQ till Obama. There was no transgender visibility day until Biden. The party, God is not in that. And that's when I said, I'm not voting for that party ever again, as long as that's what they represent.
Multiple people.
Let alone no policy. no policy. And they destroyed the United States of America.
Multiple people keep saying, well, we deport Jesus Christ.
That, that doesn't even make sense. You don't even get energy to foolishness. That's just foolishness. God is without sin. God is not going to walk around sinning or breaking laws or do whatever. Even when Caesar, back in the day, God, the disciples came to him, God, we're supposed to pay tax. What are we supposed to do? God said, give Caesar what's Caesar.
And Sweetie Pie said, I'm much younger than you. Trans have always been around.
So you're much younger. They've been around since when? I mean, you've been around for the last 2,000 years? I mean, they ain't been around. We wasn't celebrating it.
Wasn't Pride Month.
Wasn't no Pride Month. Wasn't no transgender day of visibility on Resurrection Sunday on Easter. Come on now. What are you talking about?
You go in any school nowadays and you see that whole agenda plastered everywhere.
I'm right, y'all. Yeah.
Like my college, you go in and they got it everywhere. So
I would never vote for a party because who you think Jesus, if the Lord himself in the flesh, would be a part of that? You think he's a part of sin? God is holy.
Okay, now people are trying to argue that trans have always been around.
What difference does it make? Were they cutting off penis and balls?
And Sweetie Pie said, now how can you preach God but have so much hate?
And you know what? When you tell people the truth, then they deflect and they call it hate. You can label it whatever you want to, but it's a disservice and it's not showing love when you don't tell people the truth. When you go along with what was politically correct or what people want to hear, you want to live in bubble land in the falsehood, I'm not going to do that. It's the truth, it's the truth. A man is a man. I don't care if he put a dress on, he's still a man. His DNA, they can cut anything off. They can put lipstick on. They can switch and pretend to be women. But that DNA, so it's going to say that's a man or that's a woman.
Okay.
Period.
To the people who are saying that, would you be comfortable with let's say a trans woman in the bathroom with your child? Would you be comfortable with that? Or would you feel appalled by that and want your child out the bathroom? And let's see how honest people are in the chat room. Because me as a future father, I would not be comfortable with a man who's pretending to be a woman in the bathroom.
And you see, he's
child.
all man.
Yeah.
He's a man.
6'5", muscles.
And he's standing up there. I can't put my lipstick on. No.
Yeah, they're saying no.
They want, you wouldn't want that.
Exactly. Someone said, I'll be appalled even if it was me.
God bless you.
God bless you.
See, people, I'm glad there's people in here that are honest.
Yeah, they're saying, heck no.
Be honest.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying. Be honest. Is that so hard? Most of y'all don't show your pictures. You don't show who you are. And you come online and you say all sorts of things that you wouldn't say to people in their face.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have these conversations. You with people every day that don't agree with you.
Okay.
Every day.
Julian had a different answer. He said, I would be okay with that, but not with a pervert attempting to hurt children. You are conflating the two.
So they are perverts. Something is wrong with them. They're not mentally stable and they're living in a delusion. They want to say, they don't want to believe what they are, but they want you to believe what they are not. Does that make sense to you? They want you to believe in their falsehood. And the worst part about it is when you go along with it and you see what they are.
And these doctors.
The doctors don't care. They chopping them up. They on medication they shorten the span of their life. They ruin them forever. Their bodies aren't functioning the way that they ought to function any longer. They're ruining these people. And instead of giving them the psychiatrists that they need and the help they need, they convince them that you're not happy the body God created you to have. They convince them of that. And the worst part of it, that they do that to children who can't even vote, they can't drive, they can't go and get into the movie theater because they're too young, but they can have changed their sex.
Yeah, that's why President Trump said at one of his events, he said, "You're beautiful the way God made you," to all of everyone that was watching.
You're beautiful the way God made you. Yeah. And I can promise you that if you could go on YouTube, you could go on different places. If you see some of the people that has transitioned into, trying to change their sex, the majority of them are more depressed, first of all, and they regret it. They regret it, and they're like they had the highest suicide rate, and they want to know why did their parents or why did the people push it on them? Why didn't people stop them? They were too young to make these decisions. But if you're a grown behind man and you want to do something like that, or a woman, then that's on you, because you can understand. But these kids, they trying to take little boys 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. They're taking children and they're mutilating their bodies. The girls are taking testosterone, they're giving them pills, and then when they want to transition, now their voice is like 5 octaves lower. Now they got problems. They can't have children. They can't, they can't reproduce. There's so much is taken from them before they're even old enough to drive. And we have adults doing this to these kids. And the doctors don't care. And they know that they have ruined them for life. They don't know what they're doing, because only God is a creator. There's no man that can recreate the body, ever, ever. Oh, thank you so much. Read this, Elijah. I want to get up on here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's read that.
They said, people don't want to understand that we must protect our children from all of the perversion and preserve their innocence.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Parents need to, be parents. You really need to parent your kids. And you need to teach your kids, because they're so influenced. Like we were going to, I could have done something on that about the books that they want to present to 4 and 6 year olds about sexuality. And having same-sex parents. They want to introduce all the kids against the parents' will. Right now, they were fighting that in Maryland. That they want to present these children what's going against what the parents want. Children. Kids are not thinking about sexuality and sex. They think about playing with toys. Toys. Remember toys? That's what they want to do. Have fun and play with their friends. But this is what they, and one of the gay teachers, I think she's might even be head of a school board or whatever, and she's like so happy because she's gay. To mom, yeah, we need to teach the kids about sexuality. What? And the news host is saying they're all failing in math in school now. Our kids are they're so far below the average. They're like 2 or 3 grades behind. And y'all talking about y'all want to introduce sexuality?
And like RFK said, 1 in 10 kids have autism now.
1 in 10 children have autism now. This is just insanity. And I don't know what's going on. That makes all this so acceptable, that you have adults that are they've been so full of hate. Even the people not going through stuff, they so full of hate. Everybody's not a federal worker that lost their jobs. People are acting like your rights are being taken. This man is trying to save this freaking country from falling any further down than we already have, because we could not continue in this direction. It's just we wouldn't survive if Kamala And I do believe that Kamala and Tampon Tim had gotten elected and they kept these borders open, kept all this crime going. You think she'd have been able to control all this that's going on? Any of them? What kind of country will we have left right now? Nobody's bringing money into the country. $36 trillion worth of debt. And now we have people here that now we're paying $407 billion for. This is like all insanity. And they got you talking about due process. They're not American. They can have due process in their country. In their country. They entered this country illegally. We have laws like all the other countries. Nobody is saying that they're not welcome. They have to come back and apply for citizenship, just like the millions of others who have applied for citizenship. We're supposed to throw our laws out the door, and all this foolishness is going on. Like people, it's like not until it knock at your door, not until it affects you personally. Yeah. Then that's when then it's an issue.
And Tracy brought up a good point. She said they got 6,000 on EBT cards. 6,000.
And American citizens can't get
homeless.
They get nothing. 6,000. I know this one man was talking about when he was crying. American citizens, 4 of them, had to feed his kids.
You got people who fought for this country.
They gave him $500 for 1 month, but the illegal immigrant got $3,500. They do more for them than they do for you.
You got people who fought for this country living on the
Good
street.
evening, huh?
You got people who fought for this country living
They're
on
living
the
on the street. They are not for America. Democrats are not for Americans. They're not for Americans. Their party is not for Americans and the rights. They're not fighting for us. We elected them, but they're not fighting for us.
They choose illegals over you.
Exactly. They don't even include us. See, maybe it'd be a little bit softer landing if they include us. They don't even include Americans. And this is our country. How do you don't include the people of the country, the citizens of the country? How don't you include them? But that's what they have done. And that's what continues to go on. And what they're going to have, you're going to see a rally May the 1st. They out there, they figure they keep on making noise, keep getting people riled up, keep getting people angry. There are good people here and great immigrants here. And they need right now to be applying for citizenship. Apply for citizenship because we have elections. And what was all right the last election might be not all right this election. So you have to go ahead and apply. That's what you do. You apply. You don't have to hide. Apply for citizenship.
Antonio, you don't have to watch. You can feel free to leave.
Thank you. So it's like everyone should want the best for their country. Everyone should want fair treatment. Everyone should want to live the American dream, especially if you are American.
Yes, we voted for Trump.
But it's not happening. It's not happening. We're not a priority for the Democrats. They show it every day. When you think that they might finally get the memo that Americans actually want them to represent Americans.
George, that's not going to happen because we're Americans.
That we want them to actually represent Americans. Have that dawned on them? That we want them to be concerned about what concerns us? Has that dawned on them yet? How much longer are they going to keep on pointing the finger at Trump that people don't realize they're not doing anything for you? That they caused this mess.
Outlaw said you're a true patriot.
Thank you, Outlaw.
Thanks, Outlaw. He said me too.
How long before you get the memo?
Yours as well.
How long? How long is it going to take before you realize they're making all that noise doing nothing for you as a citizen? They got all, you know who's out there protesting? Americans. And while they pass and blame on Trump, but they caused this chaos. They caused everything that we're going through, from the economy to everything. Everything. Inflation, they caused all of this.
I can tell you like 99 Joe Biden mental problems. A doctor could tell you that too. Got more than 99.
Oh, they all, even Jake Tapper's from, what is he, CNN or MSNBC? He's writing a book talking about Joe Biden. They supported Joe Biden all this time. And now he's writing a book about Joe Biden's decline and his dementia.
And Hunter Biden.
Yeah, he pardoned the whole family. Now, you had a president that had to pardon his entire family. That's not disturbing to you?
Suspect.
He had to pardon his entire family. That's who was running our government. Stealing.
Oh, John Morant's in the chat. What's up, John?
Get out, for real. Hey, didn't he get injured?
Yeah, he got injured. I guess that's why he's watching.
Yeah. God bless you guys. But God is good. And whoever's in office, like all this stuff was going on with Biden and everybody supported him. You got to support your president. Like, you can't fight him on everything he's trying. Everything. He's done more in the last 100 days for this country than Joe Biden and Obama and all them put together have done in like 8 years. What were they in power for the last 12 of the last 16 years? The Democrats. This is what they have done to America.
Yeah. Yep, God is good all the time.
Yeah, all the time God is good. All the time. But we're so grateful.
Cookie said, Cookie said, yes, God is good. Stop genocide and stop arresting.
You know, it would be great if, like, we just come together as one nation under God and just do what's best for all of us.
Yeah.
All of us.
And Julian said he's played more golf in the last 100 days than all the others.
Yeah, well, I see him working. This is one president that's on TV every single day working and never stopped working. Where were you when Joe Biden spent his presidency on vacation for the last 4 years?
Gary said thank you for what you do.
You're welcome. 4 years this man was MIA, suffering from dementia, vacationing, wasn't even being a president, and it just behooves me that people, like, what y'all just all woke up the last 100 days? I mean, Trump is working every day. For somebody to tell that blatant lie like that, that's just a lie. Where's the truth in you?
Someone said golf is hard work.
Where's that's just a lie. Yeah. But it's okay. It's okay, because you must not be American. You can't be. Because this man is working every day, or you're not living in this country. You know, he hasn't taken a day off since he's been campaigning. He hasn't been off. I don't even know. I don't have that stamina. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, Jay said.
Every freaking day. Y'all know it. Y'all see him every single 7 days a week. Y'all see that man.
Jay said, like, agreeing to what you said, he said if these people actually looked into, they would realize he's doing them a great service.
Yeah, he is. Exactly, but they will find out in the long run, because he's going to keep moving forward, because it has to be done.
But the question is, when are they going to find out? Are they going to find out when a Democrat is back in office?
They're going to find out when these tariffs start coming through and the companies are coming in. See, they're on their way in here. When America start prospering again, when America he's getting us back on our feet, whether we like it or not. While y'all fighting, screaming, hollering, he's still going to do what he needs to do. Even though you don't have sense enough to understand he's fighting for you, and he's never stopped fighting you. But y'all let those people in office sit on their behinds and did nothing but destroy this country, and no outrage. You have the audacity to say something about him. And I see him working every day.
No, Crane. Joe Biden did that with his 1994 crime bill, putting black men in slavery, locked up. You could look into that. Trump has done the opposite with his First Step Act and giving it predominantly black colleges HBCUs. You could look it up. You could look up Joe Biden 1994 crime bill. Kamala put
that caused mass incarceration.
Kamala put black men in jail too. You guys can all look this up.
And Trump is the one that had the First Step Act that got passed in Congress.
Donald Trump
that did that for black people.
I'm gonna say this is going to be shocking, but Donald Trump has done more for black people than Barack Obama.
Oh, Barack Obama was the president of LGBTQ. He didn't do anything for us. He was just a face. He was just a face. Y'all, it's just amazing that people, I hope these aren't adults, that because they saw a president that couldn't speak, couldn't talk, that was suffering from dementia. You never saw him. That literally was not seen, was not running the country. You found out, I didn't know Kamala was so incoherent. I never knew that she didn't know how to talk. She didn't even know how to speak without talking in word salads. I didn't realize how incompetent these people really were. And y'all it's just unbelievable that you're talking about Trump that's working. You see him in the news every freaking day, talking to leaders around the world. He has in his Oval Office, at least once or twice a week, is somebody from another country in his Oval Office. And he shows, he let the media in and the American citizens in and the world in to see what's going on. He's flying on Air Force One to the Pope funeral. He's answering questions from the reporter on Air Force One.
He actually answers questions.
He actually answered questions without a script, without a teleprompter. He takes all questions, everything, anything you throw at him. And you're going to tell me that's what that previous president and vice president was doing? Now I want to see how, because we know the devil is a liar. Because I can say that and I help get them elected. So you're looking at somebody that always voted for Democrats. And I'm saying this. So this is not no one-sided type issue. Because I can say what the truth is. It's just ridiculous to me that people can't freaking admit how incompetent them people were. And then they wanted to put Kamala and Tampon Tim. That was even worse than Biden and Kamala. I'm like, oh, heck no. Ain't no way. Trump. Go ahead, Trump. No way. No freaking way.
I mean, you could look it up, dude. You can look everything we're saying up for yourself.
What? You thinking about something that happened?
No, that
what?
person.
The
person has a conspiracy.
They think it's clickbaiting.
Yeah.
How is it freaking clickbaiting? Aren't we supposed to get something out of it? Like, you know what? But it's amazing. Like this Wisconsin judge, the one that allowed the illegal immigrant to leave out her office. This is what these people doing.
Wait,
Go
I'll
ahead.
say Tam first.
Go ahead.
Tam said, keep talking. That was me too. But I can never see myself voting for a Democrat again.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I will never vote for them ever again. And I have a lot of friends. I have senators. They have my cell phone number. I have their numbers. They've been wanting to call. I've been like talking about quiet. I haven't said anything. And they would love for me to come and campaign with them because I'm passionate about what I do. And they would love for me to be out there because I'll be organizing people, getting people together, all that, and we would be out there protesting, and I'm not, I would never do that again for them because it's not what I signed up for. That is not the same party. And I had to come to the realization that, first of all, I'm a child of God. And I started looking at it, I said, okay, the DNC, which I was so privileged to be in the DNC, be on the floor and be out there. I mean, it's amazing. You see journalists from around the world. It's just to be in that environment is incredible. The people that you get to meet and interact with from, just every star, every general, everyone you could think of, is amazing. And I used to love all of that. That was great, campaigning and all of that. But then I started seeing, like the last couple of, I'm late to the party, that the party is not the same. When Obama came in office and he got into this same-sex marriage stuff, and now we got Pride Month, LGBTQ, all of this stuff, they celebrating everything that goes against God. Then I had to look at Biden. He wanted to be the grandfather of transgender today. I'm like, this is, they just, and then let alone destroying the freaking country. Well, it's like a list like this, all the stuff that they have imparted into the citizens of the United States of America, which is negative.
The Democrats.
So I would never vote for that way because it doesn't stand on what I believe in, on biblical principles. It's not.
My mom had one of the highest jobs at the post office. I just said that because they said we.
I want them to know where I work.
They said we look like we work at 7-Eleven.
Who cares what they say? One thing you don't have to do is convince anyone about your worth or your value. You don't have to do that. Especially when people hide behind social media. You don't have to prove yourself. People know when people have it together. People can tell when people are educated, intelligent. You know it by them being able to speak. So it's not about telling people who you are, where you are, or what you do. You don't have to prove it to them. It's not about that. It's not about that. And for people that can't understand, speaking as clear and concise as possible at a level that everyone should be able to comprehend if you understand the English language, then it shouldn't be that difficult. It shouldn't be that difficult. It's about doing what's right. It's about looking out for one another. It's about holding our elected officials accountable. It's like people want to hold the Republicans accountable, but on the same token, the Democrats are doing all the damage, and you don't want to hold them accountable. I don't understand that. Someone has to explain it to me why it's just one-sided rage when they did this. And nobody wants to admit it. Is that it? Nobody wants to call them out. You got them running around AOC and Bernie Sanders, and they're not doing anything for anyone. Her borough, go look up AOC in the Bronx and look what's happening in the people she's supposed to be representing. They're going through hell. They're crashing out. And she's running around the country and they say, oh, this is a soft launch for her maybe running for president. And you can't handle your borough in New York, the Bronx? Those are the people that they're trying to push on people. And what are they talking about to do for you? Nothing. What, they're going to have another DNC moment that they're going to have you, they're going to have a Planned Parenthood there to give abortions? They had Planned Parenthood. Who does that? Outside, they clapping and cheering, and they're eliminating babies outside of the convention for their constituents. What kind of crap is that? Come on now. I wouldn't want to be there. They're having abortions right at their convention. And that's for the women, for women rights. But women don't have a right to have men not in the restroom with them or not in their sports. Make it make sense. You know, it's insanity. It's just on another level. And we need to just look at these things. You know, need to ask yourself, you know, wrong is right, right is wrong. Like, why is things only wrong on one side of the fence? And when you say something, then people want to say things about you or try to talk down about you or make comments and all that because they don't want to talk about what's really going on. If when Trump does anything, I say something about it. And everybody does. But when they say something, it should be the same freaking token because nobody is perfect. Everybody does something that people don't like. But except for Democrats. They behind all this bull crap and Trump gets the blame. They act like he's been president for the last 4 months, not the last 100 days. As soon as he got in office, before he got in office, the leaders around the world weren't even talking about it when Trump got elected November the 5th. He wasn't even sworn in until January the 20th, but they only were addressing Trump because he was the only one being a president. He was the only one being a president. Nobody was talking to Biden. Biden didn't come out. They weren't president or vice president. They were MIA, especially after she lost. She went into hiding. Next time she resurfaced, she came off like she was drunk or something. But nobody, you got to hold these politicians accountable regardless of party. Regardless of party. Look at what they are not doing for you. And see what they are doing for you. Because they're not doing anything for you at all. They're not doing anything. Nothing. And they run around the country or they on the news with Donald Trump syndrome. He's the only one trying, at least he's trying to do something. At least he's keeping his word. They're not doing anything. And don't plan to do it. Their only focus is to allow illegal voting in this upcoming elections. They open up the borders because they want these people to vote for them. Because the way that it is, they will not win. Because Americans are fed up. They will not win. No matter the people out there, they could tell me they paying people to be out there. Whatever big crowds, and they fighting for nothing. But they are not going to, they only want the votes. It's not about why did they want the people to come in and flying them in too? They were just trying to get as many people in here as possible, giving them lied about it, giving them Social Security numbers, allowing them to get Social Security that's not going to be around for you when you retire. It's insanity on another level. And you need to, I want to hear those discussions. I want to hear why did they do this to our country. I want to know why people are not holding them accountable if though they didn't do this. I want the conversations to be kicked off. You know, so these are things that we need to do. But I'm going to get off of here. You guys, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. And hit the notification bell. I did start a membership. People in the chat was saying, Cindy, you need to, do a membership and things like that. So I think that there's a link Yeah, it might be. I don't know if my son put it in the description, or you could go to another video. You could watch the ones on the presidents or whatever. In the description, you should find the links. It might not be on this one, but you have to look at the original channel. Go to Speak the Truth 2.0. And you like people making suggestions because they said that, you need to make ways that people can, contribute to your channel. And we're going to, we could have been doing stuff, but we just come on here and because it is important. So I did start at brands, and different people want us to do something, and we just haven't been doing anything because it's just easy just to come on and talk to you guys. But there is a membership, so you guys can join, and we are going to eventually have people coming on that we can communicate. So we're setting it up. So we are doing stuff, but it takes time to get all this stuff together. So we are building it right now. We're just building the channel so that when we do upload, that people can find the channel. Because when we try to upload before, like, people can't find the channel. So we're working on, get the, get it all together so that we can start, because we're going to start bringing people on. We're going to like have a link, or, that you can come on, but we're going to need email so we can send you the link. And so that's going to be like our next level of Speak the Truth 2.0, when we start having guests and we start having these conversations. And we do like talking to people, in the chat, but we can't be up on the screen reading everything everyone says. And don't forget to leave comments, because we do like going back, because I can't see the comments. We don't mind having a conversation. So you could let us know, why did Biden, if somebody know, let me know, why did Biden open up, the comments after we close this up, because I'm talking about the chat. That'll go away once we finish this stream. So, you can leave a comment after the stream in the comments, and you maybe somebody know, why did we open up our borders? Why did the Democrats open up the borders? How come they allowed 2 wars? Why did they allow the 2 wars? Why are you in agreement with the judges? These judges that have gone on road, that are allowing illegal immigrants to live in their houses, and ones that committed crime, that judges are actually allowing them to leave out the back door, telling them to leave out the back door. Are judges supposed to hold people accountable? Do you look for a judge sitting on the bench to keep the law? If they're not going to keep the law, how are you going to hold anybody accountable if your judges aren't even keeping the law? So it does, these are things that we need to have conversations about. Do you support Trump? If you don't support Trump, why don't you support him? Do you listen only to MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, all mainstream media? That's all I used to listen to. I would never listen to Fox News or any other channel, because they racist, they this, they that. And some people are racist, no matter if they're Democratic or Republican. Oh, well, but guess what? You don't have to be. God made us all in his image. And in heaven, there's no all white section. There's no all black section. There's no all Asian section. When we go to heaven, we're made in the image of God. God, this is man-made stuff. And God made us different for a reason. I'm happy that he did that. It would be boring if we all looked the same and were the same. But we all have the same brain. We all have eyes, ears, mouths, everything. He's given us feet. He's given us everything. He might, the only difference is that he's given us melanin, different shades, different eye shapes, different hair color. That's a beautiful thing, because God is good. So anyway, you guys, be blessed. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we come on. And thank you, our monitor. Thank you, Outlaw. You do such a great job. Thank you for looking out for us. And thank you so much. I hope you've had a great day. And I hope you guys continue to be blessed. Continue to have a great day. And don't forget, now we do have the membership. And we're going to build a channel so that it can help us, and we can get more equipment. We can do stuff I guess, look more professional like the other content creators. But one thing that's not going to change is that we're going to be authentic. There's nothing better to being who you are and not fronting to get people to subscribe and all that kind of stuff. I see people say all kinds of things for their audiences so that they can continue to support them. I'm not going to do that. I'm not like that. You know, I speak from the heart, and that's who I am. And I can't be any differently. So it's one thing, we're going to be real, and we're not all knowing. So we like to be enlightened, and we're not one sided. And when we put different programs up or content creators, it's not just all, say, Fox News or MSNBC. We do a mixture of everyone to get different perspectives. Okay, because we know we have Democrats on here, Republicans, independents, foreigners, different people live in other countries. They want to see what's going on. And the best way is to listen to some Americans, the people actually living here. So anyway, you guys, I got to run. It's about 12 o'clock in the morning. And I got to get ready because I've been watching the draft. I'm into football, so they didn't even, anybody's in football. Shador Sanders was expected to go at least the top 5, even the second round. He still hasn't been chosen. And his father, Deion Sanders, he just feel like that he's upset. The family is like what's going on, because Travis Hunter, my favorite player in college football, two-way player, generational player. He's a cornerback and wide receiver. He went number 2, and they gave up a lot to the Browns. The Jaguars had obtained Travis, but Shador still hasn't been drafted. I love football. I used to love NBA, but now I'm into NFL, but especially, and I'm into college football. I'm following my players. So anyway, hopefully he'll get drafted tomorrow. I've been watching the draft, so that's why we came on late, because, I love football. But anyway, you guys, love you. Thank you, Outlaw. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. God bless. Good night. Oops. Here we go.